Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we good?
There you are, end of the Armageddon.
We good?
Alright, man, I'm good.
We good.
Enjoying the heat.
Do you know what? In my head, I was like, should I be now, like, obviously I'm a shorts man anyway, but should I be going full t-shirt, shorts, embrace? Or is England doing that 7:30 cold? Do you get what I mean?
I'll be honest with you, you shouldn't be wearing shorts in England anyway.
You're mad.
Why not?
Seriously, it's
Me?
just...
Nah, you're mad.
Nah. Shorts is a holiday thing.
Nah.
Or sports.
Nah, no, definitely not. It's 28 degrees.
It's 29. It's the hottest
First
May
of May, yeah, ever.
ever
Oh, really?
on record.
Yeah.
Raw.
And what else is 1st of May relevant for? No, go on for the first
Yeah,
one.
nothing happened.
International Workers' Day.
Yeah, that's the one.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, you know what?
That's exactly what it is.
Alright.
International
You're blasting
Workers' Day.
employee.
Tell us, what is that? What is it?
International Workers' Day is when you remember the rights of people that have been fighting for the rights of workers throughout history, talking about, this is going back as far as about 100 years now.
Right.
It's
You
a
really
long
are a
running-
prophet, aren't you?
Bruv, it's a serious thing.
You really are Prophet Wiley.
Serious thing, bruv.
But I didn't know.
No one knew because he literally made it up just now.
Not at all. No.
All right,
Where's
all
your
right.
little flag?
I was on a march today.
Oh, same.
There
Say
you
no
go.
more.
There you go.
Say no more.
Okay, so we're going to do this in two parts. So for those watching, you're going to see a split in... I don't know what camera I'm on, but those watching, you're going to see a split in personnel. We're going to mix it up. We're going to do a lot of this and that. However, the reason why today's proceedings are different to normal is because, little drum roll,
please.
we have the fantastic Mr. Kojo. All right. I thought I was going to take me an age, bruv. Hey there, welcome to the MT podcast, Kojo.
What's going on, lads? You right?
What's going on?
It's called the Empty Podcast, but it's ramming it. I mean,
Listen.
who came up with the name?
Listen,
Who came up with the name? That's what
we could have called it the food podcast, man.
Listen.
the Ram Podcast.
Ramajam podcast.
Good to be here, lads. What's going on?
Yeah, no. We're good. And for those that don't know, I'm going to start off with my extreme left.
I am Sirelli, ever so slightly broken. No, the way he came with that is like, he was going to give me a little entree or something.
No.
Yeah, yourself.
And then beside Sirelli, we have...
Mr Wileycat DJ.
And then beside Wiley, we have...
Ray Nelson. I'm being professional.
Because today's Workers' Day.
There you go.
International Workers' Day. International Workers' Day.
And I'm Citrus City. Yeah. So, guys, we've got so much to cram in. We're going to have to do substitutions. We're going to have to do all sorts to fit it all in.
Who's holding up the board for the subs?
For the subs, I'll let the workers do that. the international workers, do you get what I mean? So, guys, I'm going to have my phone in my hand, not to be rude, but I've got my notes, so I want to stay on task and let it rip. So, Kojo, we're going to start with you, sir.
Yes, man. What's going on?
For those that don't know you, obviously you're a very popular guy, famous guy, in my opinion. Tell me about Kojo in 1 minute.
Oh, God. From Hackney, East London.
Hey!
Come on.
Oh, the Tottenham man, yeah.
Die hard Liverpool fan.
And this has been the MT podcast. My name is Citrus, and this has been Kojo.
I ain't been able to say that for a couple of years. Loudly, and from Ghana. What else? Do stand-up comedy. Been in entertainment 25 years, celebrating 25 years this year.
Flowers.
Yeah, man. Been around the world, worked with people like Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Chris Rock. First big gig was like Hackney Empire.
Nice.
Which is local theatre, and I'm a father. My son is gonna be 7 this summer.
Big boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And what else, man? My favourite colour is blue.
True Liverpool
I
fan.
went to school in Tottenham. I went Glazemore.
Raw, okay.
Yeah, I went Glazemore. What else can I tell you? I'm not a virgin. I know most of these man because of soca music.
Nice.
And youth clubs.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that's enough.
Well, do you know, funnily enough, you mentioned the youth club. So I've known Kojo since I must have been roughly around 11.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
About 10 or 11 years old. We went to the same youth club. We played in the same football team, and we did a lot. And here in my hand, shout goes out to Springfield Youth Club. That was the name of our boys' club that we went to.
I said, look at the
Don't
font.
watch the font. Don't watch the font.
That's some Grange Hill, baby.
Pure,
Look at the tea.
pure history in here.
It's
Pure
the
history.
minibus on the front of it. That's
But
killing
you know what I want to do? I want to test Kojo's knowledge.
Mate.
We'd have to give that away.
And look at this. Look how professional I am. I got empty podcast call cards. There's nothing on the back. And don't watch that. Don't watch that. Don't watch that. Right now they're
It's
bookmarks.
an empty card.
So, Kojo, this one's for you, my bro. On the first year, I won the award. You won the award on the second year. What award was it?
B Cup?
Well done. Wow. Bro, this guy.
B
Do you know what I
Cup,
thought I was
come
going to be ahead?
I didn't win much.
You still got them on display.
Mum's very proud of that cup. Behave yourself.
B Cup was good because
Good,
it
yeah.
was a weekend away at Woodrow, and you had to really get involved in everything. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so that's something that I'll never forget for sure.
So wait, for the people that didn't go
Yeah.
to them clubs or
Springfield
whatever,
Boys Club.
What is that? What's the B Cup?
And why
What's
is it
the
not
B
called
cup?
the A cup?
No,
Someone
B
else.
as in B-double-E. So there was a club called the B. They were called the B
B
Club.
Club, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they used to sponsor vehicles for youth clubs, youth centres,
Right.
bingo halls, church groups, all sorts.
Okay.
So they gave us a minibus, and we named a competition after them.
All right. So what you
And
actually
it was basically a competition where we used to go to this place called Woodrow, which was in Amersham,
Amersham, yeah.
and
Hi, Wickham.
you stay there go there Friday, come back Sunday, and literally as soon as you land on Friday, it's competition time.
Yeah.
It's probably 20 to 30 young people per year group. I think they were split into 2 different year groups, and from the first day it was a cross country run, it was a swim, it was a cycle, it was general knowledge, it was all
Archery.
different sorts. Archery, yeah, exactly. You know, sharpshooter Kojo, innit?
Yeah.
But all right, no problem.
One thing he remembers, innit?
The one thing
No. I remember more the bruises. Yeah.
we had something called Night Adventure.
Night Adventure, yeah.
Kojo, talk about Night Adventure.
I like the way you made me say it. Yeah.
I don't want to get
I'm
implicated.
gonna talk my truth. Bro, hey, all I'm saying is, yeah, the youth leaders, brother, if they didn't like you, yeah, they caught you on Night Adventure, blood. Yeah, you go into the woods and you got to literally make it back to the yard.
They'll drive you out somewhere,
Yeah.
probably a mile out. Just
you
say,
gotta make
listen,
it back to the house."
Make it back to Woodrow House. No maps. No, this is a lie. They give you the little orienteering thing, and you have to find the triangle with the red circle underneath and follow the path down to the. It was that kind of thing. However, the staff would situate themselves along the route, and if you were cool with them throughout the year, you'd be fine.
You get a pass.
Someone like Kojo, who was running up his mouth,
You shall not pass.
bruv. But you'd run up your mouth at the youth club and then you go home. Because you go home to your mum. What's going to happen? At Night Adventure now, there's no running home to mum. You just need to make it. But if you got into Woodrow, you were safe. It was making it from wherever they dropped us off, which was in the middle of anywhere, to
Brother,
place.
they will bust you up, bruv. You get
Yeah.
punched up and they didn't give a damn. And there was one of them that was ex-army man. He
Tony-
had no business
Tony
doing
Sutherland.
it to us.
Yeah.
Tony Sutherland.
Yeah.
I will find you.
I remember
You know
one
what?
time.
Don't say
Yeah.
that too loud.
I
He's
could-
still.
he-
He's still.
Kojo's going to
Yeah.
find you, yeah? Not me. I'm
What is it?
What grown man is wearing camouflage, blackening his eyes for youth's blood?
You know what the thing is? I didn't go to your club. I went to a different club, and I still knew him.
Yeah.
That's
Brother,
how gangster he was. If you
Tony
were in
was
Hackney
militant.
and you were in a club of any sort,
Youth club setting.
he was there.
Yeah.
He was like the disciplinarian for everywhere.
So what was interesting is shout goes out to our other brethren called Wiley, who used to run his mouth up. Enough.
Footballer whining.
Yeah. And what happened was he ran his mouth up to Tony. We were making our way back in Night Adventure. I don't know why, but I looked up. Tony was in the trees.
That's what I'm saying.
And he was just like,
He probably made the tree as well.
he was just like, you go past. I'm waiting for that. Do you know what I mean? All I hear is crying in the woods. I just rolled in my bed and
Lost
was like,
souls.
it's not me.
How old was you like then?
Bruv, 10, 11,
Yeah,
12.
bruv. You get early
So
blood.
the age where you needed discipline.
A proper man's punch, if you get the terminology. So anyway, let's move on. Kojo, what event did I beat you to be the champ and you were second place?
Did I beat you?
Yeah.
I had to put that in.
just to make sure.
Just
To emphasize that he won, yeah?
yeah. It was
Is
indoor.
it a team sport or is it
No,
individual?
Individual,
I
indoor,
came second place,
in
maybe
the gym.
Oh, bleep test.
No.
Oh, okay.
When I say I beat you, it was a competition between two people.
I can't remember. Bleep
It
test.
was short tennis.
Oh.
I was the 1993 short tennis champion, and Kojo was the short tennis
Yeah. Okay,
runner-up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
pay
and
for that
just finally, what year did our football team come second in the Camden and Islington Youth Football League?
Because you won the cup that year, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we should have done a double. Man, I would say about 94.
93.
Ooh.
But let's give him credit. I've got the book to reference. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh.
I've got
That
the
was
book to
close.
reference.
That
So
was
he's
close.
done pretty well. Okay, so this was me talking more about young Kojo. So now I want to move over to Kojo between his 20s and 30s. Let's find out about that guy.
You gonna ask me something, or you gonna be happy just?
I want to know. I want to know, like, what was Kojo like? Like, I knew what he was like as a young person.
Yeah.
He spoke that he was sporting. What was he like in his latter teen years into his 20s?
I think I was
into his
figuring it
30s?
out, man. I was figuring out the independence that I so craved that when I got it, I hated it. You know, when you're in school, you can't wait to leave it, and then once you can do what you want, you kind of need, you know what I mean? You kind of want that discipline and be here on time and all that. Do your homework. No one was telling you to do your homework now. You either do it or you're stupid. You know what I mean? So it was that freedom. So I think in my 20s, I was going to like college and
Wait, I just remembered. Kojo's one of the guys that got a job in either Dulce's or M&S. Do you know, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, like, there was prestigious retail sites to work at. Kojo was in the prestigious, I was in Sainsbury's, you know what I mean?
JJB Sports.
Shout goes out to Sainsbury's. You know, Sirelli was in Tesco's and Topshop. Do you know what I mean? Rain.
I was in B&Q, just over there.
No, I was in B&Q shoplifting, not even working. but Kojo had what, you know what I mean? Just walked around with pride.
Yeah.
Because
Marks and Spencers or
because he was
whatever it
probably on
The
£5.
£5 massive, innit?
All right, I
The
can't even
£5
make it
massive.
up.
Yeah.
£5 massive. Me, I was on £3.20 and smiling, happy.
Brother, I think it was JJB Sports I was at. But around that time is when I started comedy, really. I started at 19, and then my first show was like when I was 20. But in between that time, I went to America. I did Camp America.
Yes.
Twice. I did Camp America twice. That's where I found out about stand-up, when I first saw Martin Lawrence. And then I was like, okay, I've got to come back and do this. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was called stand-up. I didn't know none of that. I just saw a man on the video that I bought. It was Martin Lawrence, because I remembered him from House Party. And yeah, I was like, what he's doing, I feel like I can do that. Came back, joined the comedy school, 2000, joined the comedy school. 8 weeks.
Was that
project.
Rudy Liquids?
Rudy Liquid, Keith Palmer.
Oh, yeah, Rudy, I remember.
And yeah, just kind of like, you know, figuring out what this thing was, you know, just trying to fine tuning what I felt like I could do naturally and had been doing naturally. I just didn't know what it was. And then, yeah, man, got into comedy around that time. Started doing like the universities. People like Julian and Dags and all of that would throw parties, you know what I mean? I was in Brink nightclub, blood. You know what I mean? When the DJ said, all right, yeah, we got one youth that's going to tell a couple jokes, interrupting man's wine. So then, man, you got to be funny, brother.
You gotta be funny.
You got to be funny, yeah, because that's what it used to be. You used to interrupt the dance, you know? Yeah? And start telling jokes, man. And I used to love those. I used to love that time because, you know, I never really came through the comedy club route. I just came through just any stage that would have me. I would go on there and do my thing, do you know what I mean? I feel like that was the first time I think I found something that I was born to do. I think football I loved and I really wanted to be good at it and everything else. And I really had to work hard at football, but it was effortless with comedy from day dot. You know what I mean?
Nice.
You know what the funny thing is? I got a quick question. A bit of reminiscing as well. So I remember the first time Kojo actually said to me, we were coming, I think it was coming from your mum's house, you know, walking down towards the bagel shop. And we were all together and we were talking. And Kojo said, yeah, I'm a comedian. I'm going to become a comedian. Now, at that young age, we all thought we were comedians. Like, we would bust joke and, you know, everyone's trying to be that guy on the top bus, on the top deck of the bus, 253, backseat. We're trying to make jokes. So people that don't know us laugh.
Yeah.
And when he said it to me, I must admit, my first reaction was, I started busting up. You're going to be a comedian. Like,
Jolting, innit?
Yeah. Like,
Do something serious for your life.
Yeah, you're gonna do this for real.
Yeah. And I'm like, back then, obviously, we were young. We didn't think any further than tomorrow, literally. So one of the questions I've always wanted to ask you, and you've been so busy, we've never really got to sit down and talk about it, is how did people around you, your peers, how did people respond when you first said to them, or even your parents, because at that age, you know, parents are telling you, go college, go uni, you know, get an education, do right by it.
Yeah.
Do right by yourself. How did your peers, your parents, people around you, how did they react when you had that conversation? And
Do you know what? I think my friends from school was very different from my friends at the club.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Because, like, I think at the club, there was so much different personalities.
Trying to elevate
Yeah.
in that space of energy.
Yeah, you know, like the ends is very competitive. Do you know what I mean? And
course.
but I and in school I was like the joker, but I was never silly. You know what I mean? Like I always get in trouble in school for what I said, not because I done something. I was sharp. I knew I was quick. The teacher never had the last word with me because I would always have one line that would just done everything. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of me and my boy Jermaine, who's from around here, Jermaine Smith. Turn into a little bad man afterwards. But Jermaine was the silly one. Fight in the classroom and, you know what I mean, take people's thing and run around. Me, I was always just witty. Do you know what I mean? So everyone in school, when they found out I was doing stand-up, it was a no-brainer to them. It was a no-brainer to them.
He's meant to do this.
Yeah,
right?
it just connected. I think with Springfield was a bit more, because I don't really think we knew what comedy was. Do you know what I mean? Because again, like you said, we're just bantering anyway. And even through banter, I don't think anyone said, oh, you're a comedian. Like, it was always just banter and being funny, right? At that age, you don't even know what it really is.
You had to be sharp.
Oh,
You
yeah.
You couldn't get left behind.
But you're getting roasted for everything, bro.
Yeah.
Everything, bro. Do you know what I mean?
You're
Man
too
can't even
smart, you
see your
get
socks.
roasted. Yeah.
Like, but what socks you got on, brother? Like,
Yeah.
like it was that kind of thing. So I think the essence of my humor, I think, definitely came through youth club and that competitive nature. But you know, I used to play with the older lot, football, so I got bullied to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it was a respect thing. Oh, you can't answer them man back there. They're bigger than you. Do you know what I mean? So what I learned in that process was, and this is what made me really think I could do it, was I always knew from a very young age I had the power to really kill somebody with a line, but I chose not to because they were bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? And I think those kind of moments are what comedians, what separates comedians, I think, in terms of someone who can, you know, someone who's funny and someone who can do stand-up. I think everybody's got humor in them. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone can, you know, drive a car, but how many people pass the test? Do you know what I mean? And I think that control of a crowd is the ability to be like, okay, I will address this person. You know what? Let me let that one slide because it's not worth it. It's to be able to control when and where. So even in school, all the people that were bigger than me, I'd always control that my next line might get me beat up. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Because I'm going to make everybody laugh and embarrass you. So it was the ability to control that at a very young age, and also the ability to hide behind that as well. Like if I didn't want to answer questions about myself, then I'd always turn it into a joke or something. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was school was just that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Everybody was like, yeah, that makes sense. Even Clive, like me and Clive went to school together. Like Clive was like, yeah, absolutely. Clive was one of the first people that was like, yeah, this makes sense for you. Do you know what I mean? To do stand up. But Springfield, I think it was a little bit different.
Yeah. So, gents, do you guys have any questions in the locker before I proceed?
No.
So, Kojo, I want to talk about something a bit personal. So, talking about the youth club and whatever else. So, we grew up obviously in Hackney, but grew up specifically in Clapton. And growing up, I never knew who Kojo's mum was or who Kojo's dad was. All I knew is he had a sister and a cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah? Shout goes out to my little sister, because if I see her, she'll bad me up for not saying it. So, well, go on. However, I always remember when we used to, so we had a mutual friend called Dean. His name was Dean Francis. And Dean would always say, let's go and look for Kojo. Now, I knew where Kojo lived, but if you knock the door, the person that's going to answer the door, you're hoping is either Kojo or his sister or his cousin. However, if Auntie opened the door, immediately I didn't know what to say. And without trying to categorize, to paint the picture, Auntie was like, do you remember the Tom and Jerry cartoons? And you see the black woman, he just saw the bottom half.
And the rolling pin.
And the rolling pin. So the door would open, is Kojo there, please? Bow, the door just closed. Do you know what I mean? You're waiting 10 minutes. Kojo be like, I'm coming in. And it was cool. And I recall, Coach, in an interview, you spoke about your mum.
Yeah.
And your relationship with your mum. And I thought it was beautiful because this was a revelation to me of a person I never met. I never met her. I met his aunt. Do you get what I mean? And to us, I can't say for sure, but I didn't grow up with my dad. You know, really didn't grow up with his dad. Tongo grew up with his dad, but more externally than internally. And we had a father figure, a white guy called Mr. Marsh. So I'm trying to paint this picture of what life was like when we were much younger.
Sorry, when you say white guy, Mr. Marsh, give us.
So Mr. Marsh set up Springfield Boys Club.
Boys Club, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was a racing driving commentator.
F1.
Lived in Blackheath, owned a big house in Blackheath, overlooking the heath. Had no reason to set a youth club up in the middle of Hackney that facilitated 90% young black boys. There was no sense. And now thinking about it, you'd be like, is this some kind of paedophile ring warm-up centre? Do you get what I'm saying, Coach? If you think about it, it's like a warm-up centre. Do you know what I mean? Like there were royalty involved and all sorts. However, what was interesting is Mr. Marsh, the role he played, he'd never parent us, but he would sit you down and be like, okay, young man, tell me about school. Tell me about your mum. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Are you coming along to the War Museum? Or are you coming along to the Dragon Boat race or whatever it was? So the question I wanted to ask Kojo is the reference that you made to your mum, the references about your aunt, the references about Mr. Marsh and whatever other parental figures you had in your life. What role have they played in comparison to you now as you speak so fondly about your son?
I think you miss people like Vibert, Stephen, Jamie for a period of time as well. You know, they were the men who kept us in line, right? They were the men, because we're from Hackney, right? Right across the road is violence. And we was on the side of like, you know, weekends away and camping and ice cream and gal and all of that stuff. If it weren't for them, we would have all been beefing our next door neighbor. Do you know what I mean? Which you probably can say was the generation underneath us that ended up doing that. Like, you know, 6 man that was in my football team don't like each other now. So it's like, those men kept us in line. I think, you know, my aunt, because my aunt was my foster carer. So that's why I even was there. And then you've got her partner who was obviously in the house, but didn't really have an impact on us. You know, it didn't teach us football, didn't tell us about sex, didn't tell us about girls and, you know, being a young man, nothing. He was just there. So you naturally are gonna go and find someone to kind of look up to, just what I'm trying to say. Thank God I had Springfield Boys Club, because it was either that or the Mandem. And you know what the Mandem are going to show you, to tell you to go and do?
They're going to teach you what they don't know.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. And then you go and do their time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, Springfield, I think, definitely was a life-saving thing. I think Auntie Marsh, you know, taught us standards, you know, and discipline and manners and all of those things. Even though he was like the old grey you know, white man is leave us alone. Like I come here to kick ball and you know what I mean. Like, but as always, like your parents as well, you remember the little bits when you need them. You know what I mean? You remember the little bits when you need them. So I definitely give a lot of my adult behavior and how I am now to people like Vibber and Stephen, people who definitely were great mentors.
So just to clarify, they were like football coaches, and they also took a managerial role in the youth club.
Yes, and they looked after.
Made sure.
Yeah, they looked after us and kept us out of all
like
the...
If you had to be at the club at 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 minutes past
But
8.
you know what? More than
you're not
anything
there-
else, Dean, they kept us busy.
Yeah, it's true.
If you're not busy, you're going to be idle, you're going to fall into foolishness. It's that simple. Yeah, if you've got 10 minutes spare, you're going to fall into foolishness that quick. So they kept us busy, and I think that's what the bad thing about youth clubs not being around now. It's aiding the problem. It's where's the funding that's gone away for youth clubs. It's crazy to me. Because, you know, we weren't on our phones. Man, I always say to girls, man, don't trust any man that ain't got cuts on his shins. Don't trust no man that's got smooth shins, bruv. He ain't done nothing. He ain't been through nothing. He ain't tested nothing. He ain't climbed no walls. He ain't done nothing. Like, that's what we did. Half of these youths now, blood, you don't even know if they got cuts on their shins. They probably got thumbs. You know what I mean? They're tweeting and texting and
manicures. And
yeah, for real. Like for me, I just think those men definitely shaped me, kept me on the good side of things, and I didn't have any idle time to go and do nonsense. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, they definitely impact me, and I respect those guys till today. Like there's nothing that they can't ask me to do, and I'm gonna be too big to do it.
And from their impact, how's that shaped you as a father?
With my son Roman, it's, you know, I let Roman guide me. So Roman's kind of like, oh, I like dinosaurs. Then I'm gonna harness that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna say my son has to be, because I think God gives us all the talent, right? And I think, you know, we come from a generation where our parents are telling us what to do, and we're rebelling against it because God's given us something else. So who am I listening to? Do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, at that age as well, 7, like you keep changing your mind anyway, like. But it's all they need to know is that whenever I do change my mind, dad's there, mum's there, they got me. I'm allowed to change my mind. And that's something I think most kids definitely need to see. That's a real thing. I'm allowed to change my mind. Because if they start doing things because they feel like they have to, that's when, you know, they get into trouble, man.
So a quick question, because I think I don't want to touch on Rain's Roundup, but it touched onto something that I saw from last weekend, which was the boxing fight. I then saw a video of when Chris Eubank was talking to Chris Eubank Jr. when he was about 13.
Yeah.
And Chris Eubank Jr. is trying to convince his dad he wants to go into boxing. Chris Eubank Sr. is saying, no, it's not for you. He really don't want him to go into it. And even you saw it in the build up to this fight, he was very much against him going into this fight. If your son turned around and said to you now, I don't know, 18, 19, Dad, you know what? I want to do comedy, you know? I actually want to do comedy. What's your response to that?
I mean, thank God he's not. Well, I mean, my son actually told me he wants to be a YouTuber, and I nearly lick him down.
Don't turn into our parents. Don't turn into our
But this is
parents.
what I said. I nearly fist him up, blood. Yeah, I know he's 7. Yeah, but boy, I was like, YouTuber, what the hell's that? But naturally, listen, you're gonna be your dad, you know, whether you like it or not. You're gonna be these people whether you like it or not, you know. Yeah. But the point is that ultimately, I had to check myself as well. Do you know what I mean? This is the new thing. The same way as what we wanted to do was the thing, or whatever, right? So it's about harnessing it. And if it's, you know, who am I to tell him not to do that if God's put something in him and he's going to be like, you know, because he wants to do gaming and all that type of stuff. Who am I to stop him doing that? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So I had to catch myself and just harness it, man. Harness it. Again, he's allowed to change his mind. If he wants to do something else, that's okay.
So does that mean for Christmas this year he'll be getting a $4,000 computer with
Camera.
with a high-res camera and a mouse that moves by itself?
See, thank God he ain't watching this, because you make things expensive when you try. Yeah,
I'm just
he
telling
wants
you.
to go to Disneyland. Okay,
on Temu, there's a version that you can just get easy thing
on there.
where you're allowed to change your mind. But if you're spending $4,000, you ain't changing
This
no
is the
mind.
thing. So when you
get
say
it?
change your mind, I support. I've got a young one.
brother,
Mine was 6.
I bought him an electric car on his first birthday like a fucking idiot. I don't know why I did that.
Yep.
Yeah?
I swear someone
We
else
all did that
in
as
there.
well.
No,
I did that.
I didn't.
And then,
First
you know
birthday?
what he done?
Yeah.
He spent the whole day enjoying the life out of a wet wipe.
Oh, wet wipe.
No.
4 hours. Everyone else is in an electric car. Everyone else is in the thing. I'm just like, never again.
Yeah,
Never again.
I
You
still
learn,
remember
you learn that lesson, innit?
I still remember the car.
My daughter's 22. Her first Christmas, she had 126 presents under the tree.
Oh, come on.
126 presents under the tree.
How many trees did you have?
One tree, one tree that was a forest on its own because
Couldn't use half of the front room.
bare treasure underneath the thing. We had to put things in the tree because there was, do you know what I mean? And then she was opening presents, got bored of opening presents, and I'm like, yo, you ain't even opened my thing. Come here.
Overcompensating, man.
Act excited
child syndrome.
and open this. Do you get what I mean? But you learn that lesson once. innit?
Brother, first you got the car. After that, you got the box. Next one got the box.
Just like,
Look
look,
the picture.
Yeah, listen, I drew wheels on the side.
He was probably in there.
imagine.
Put it this way, the
That's
car
your
was one of those big ones that you can sit in. It never left the house. My living room was smaller than these sofas put together. Yeah, I'll never forget it.
Right. Okay, so Coach, we're going to move on.
Yeah, go on.
So this segment is called Empty the Clip. Empty the clip. You have 45 seconds. During these 45 seconds, I'll fire questions at you.
Yeah.
It's a A or B answer.
Cool.
You hit us up, right? I'm going to ask Buddy. Buddy's in the building. Shout goes out to Buddy. Yo. This is me echoing Buddy's voice. Buddy, can you do a timer for us? 45 seconds, please. Kojo, are you ready?
Let's do it, man.
All right. Buddy, you ready?
What, no sound effects?
You have to do the whole countdown thing. All right, let's go. Kojo, introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Leader or follower?
Leader.
Thinker or feeler?
Thinker.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
City life or countryside?
Countryside.
Surprises, yes or no?
What was that?
Surprises, yes or no?
No.
Small circle of close friends or large group of acquaintances?
Small circle.
Love or money?
Love.
Loyalty or honesty?
Honesty.
Trust first or earn trust?
Earn trust.
Help others first or focus on yourself?
Help others.
Love deeply and risk heartbreak or stay guarded?
Love deeply through his heartbreak.
Creative or analytical?
Creative.
Job security or entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship.
Side hustle or one main job?
Side hustle.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Fitness or relaxation?
Fitness.
Cooking at home or eating out?
Cooking at home.
Take risk or play it safe?
Take risks.
Solo traveler or group traveler?
Solo
Kojo,
traveler.
this is quick fire. You know?
Solo traveler.
All right. Cooking shows or reality TV?
Cooking shows.
You know when the time clock's scared.
You know the time was just like. But you're the timer team.
My man, look at me. I said to him, yo.
The man said countdown.
Yeah, you're supposed to. I'm like, bloody hell, bro. You had one job.
But he's like this.
Did it. But he's doing it in silence.
All right, so 2 more questions, Kojo,
good.
please. Follow your heart or follow your head?
Follow your head.
Nice. And the last one. Follow the rules or break the rules?
Break the rules.
I'm going to add one question. Mainstream or non-mainstream?
Non-mainstream.
Okay.
I got one. Plantain or plantain?
Oh.
Sandwiches.
So guys, this was Kojo's Empty the Clip. Empty, how do we feel how Kojo did on Empty the
Yeah,
Clip?
man, it was good.
It was all right, innit?
No, there was a few second delays. Like, I can't remember what it was.
Because you know what it is? The delays are more because I want to be truthful.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I want to answer
Good
truthfully.
rebuttal.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's buying himself time. All right, well that's all right. We'll allow that. We'll allow that.
He was thinking, who's watching? How do I answer?
All right, so Kojo, we wanted to give you a 20-25 minute segment. What's happening in your life now? What's the plans for the future? And someone whispered in my ear, if I had a mic, and I'll be like, 1 second. My earpiece says that we have a competition. We have a competition.
Oh, yes.
All right, Kojo, go for it.
Okay, so the competition or what's been going on?
Do the plans, then the competition.
Okay, so I've been in LA for the last 2 years. touring with like people like Michael Blackson, Chappelle, comedian called Tony Roberts. And I've gone to some amazing places I never ever thought my gift would take me. Do you know what I mean? So I've been to like, Kentucky, Muhammad Ali, place where Muhammad Ali grew up.
Wow.
I've been to like Detroit, I've been to like Chicago, I've been to Cincinnati, I've been like, New York, Philly. Like I've been to all these places to do stand-up and being received very, very well. And I've been going to America for years, but to kind of officially really go on the road and just step outside of like LA and New York, you really go into like the rural areas, Atlanta, Idaho, like, Ohio, just going there being funny has been amazing. I've grown a lot as well as a man. And yeah, man, I've been, got a project I'm working on with Cedric the Entertainer out there as well. That's a really, really big thing. And then I'm back in the UK. I've got a very, very exciting announcement coming very soon. I can't say it yet. But
Can't we get an MT podcast exclusive?
I can't.
Sometimes we just need something to boost the ratings things, you know what I mean?
To get some likes.
Breaking news, yellow bar going across the bottom of the rhythm. Do you know what I mean?
I can just say I got my own show.
Right.
What?
I got my own show coming.
Lads, keep pushing. He's weak. He's weak, vulnerable. Do you know when the chick's knees start shaking? He's in that position right now. All right. Show. Talk to me some more.
So I got a show coming out based around my upbringing. This is like a dream come true for me. Something that I've been working hard for. I've become a little bit of a recluse as well in that time because I've just felt like, I don't really like red carpets. I don't really like the whoop-la of the business. I really love the work. And I think nowadays there's a lot of outside stuff going on. So, you get yourself in trouble when you're on the red carpet and you ain't selling nothing. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just stay away. After pandemic, I was like, I made the decision that, I don't care about relevance. I think relevance is about for people that aren't talented. You know what I mean? You got to be relevant then. But when you got a talent, you ain't got to be relevant. You just got to be good. And your next offering, make sure that it's quality. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I don't care about being relevant. I'm just more about when the next time you hear my name, it's going to be something dope. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gearing up for my show at Hackney Empire on the 12th of September, which is me celebrating 25 years in comedy. It's called Married to the Game because I felt like, my prayer this year was that God steers me in the direction of family. I had a 6-month period where I had to come back from LA, I had to renew my visa and everything like that. And in that time, I couldn't go back to America. And I spent time with my niece, I spent time with my nephews, I spent more time with my son, I spent time with my aunt, my family. And it really, that 6-month period really, really hit me hard because I was like, I've not been here. Mm. I'm the uncle that just lights them up with gifts and all the other stuff. But I subsidize that with time. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. And I really knew in that moment that time is the best currency that you can ever offer these people, your family. Do you know what I mean? So for me, my prayer this year was, to find my person, to spend more time with family. And the moment I've done that, everything else has been going up and up and up. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm putting more time into family now. I'm happy with my offering. Anything I get now is a bonus. If I do nothing else, I'll always have stand up and make money doing that. But I'm at peace because in this business, there's a lot of people that aren't at peace. They're always chasing something. Do you know what I mean? And you start sometimes regretting all the time that you missed. You don't get that back. So I'm at a space now where Married to the Game, that's where it is. It's a very unique show. It's not a stand-up show. It's just like a one-man show where I'm talking about being on Wild and Out and how I got on Wild and Out, doing Choice FM, morning show, do you know what I mean? A station that I grew up listening to. When it switched over to Capital Extra, like no one knows those stories, working with Russell Simmons in New York for a year. Do you know what I mean? Like all of these, there's so much things that I've done that people don't know. Why did I do Britain's Got Talent? Do you know what I mean? So this is the show where I'm really gonna pour in and let people know the hidden truths behind my 25-year career and how I met Chappelle and got on the road with him and Kevin and all these people. Do you know what I mean? It's some beautiful stories. So, yeah, man, 12th of September, Hackney Empire, my home theatre.
That's one thing I wanted to say. That's amazing that you're coming back to Hackney Empire because
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, Hackney Empire was the spot. You know, like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did a lot of stuff for the local community.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what was it? The weekend show,
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live, and it was the place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the place was jammed every Saturday. It was packed out.
every weekend, man. And I grew up going there, and just being entertained and to kind of bring it back. I could have gone like Hammersmith Apollo, but I was like, I haven't done Hackney Empire in years. And if I'm going to tell this story, it has to be in front of my family and friends. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, going back home to my local theatre, and it's going to be a very special night. Very, very special night.
So, Kojo, how do we get tickets for the Hackney Empire?
HackneyEmpire.co.uk. Tickets are on sale now. And we are going to give away a pair of tickets, I believe, on the show.
Can I win them?
No,
I read the small print, right?
no one in this room.
It doesn't say that I
related to
can't win.
No one even in the
What
parking.
about if my mum wins?
You know, like
What about if my mum
anyone
wins?
near this building?
All right. So, Kojo, what we're going to need is we need a competition question. I'm not going to put it on you right now. I'm going to give you time to think about it. And I'm going to just check if my brothers have anything to add before we move on to the next segment.
I got a question. I got a question. So I don't know if you've been seeing this thing about Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
So they've done Rushmore of
Comedians.
grime MCs, which is a bit mad. 'Cause
Oh,
they left
interesting.
Out, yeah, they left out Gets. Imagine that. But
Wait, who was on that one?
I think it was Wiley. I can't even remember, but it was they left off Gets and they left off someone. They left off Dizzy Rascal.
Wow.
Imagine that. But anyway,
Interesting.
so Americans have taken on. They've done their Mount Rushmore of hip hop. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of comedy? And that can be domestic and internationally.
Four faces, right?
Four faces.
So I'm gonna. They do it live.
Yeah.
So you're saying mix it up with English and American?
Mix it up.
All right, cool. That's a very interesting one. So I have to say, my two from the UK would be Slim.
Right, yeah.
Slim would definitely be up there. And
Shout goes out to Slim.
yeah, shout out to Slim. And I would say Felix Dexter.
Nice.
Yeah.
God bless Felix Dexter. R.I.P. to Felix. Felix was a very integral part of that Room McCoy show. He had his own segment. The character thing was so ahead of his time. One of the most talented, gifted people. I once remember Felix doing a show with him, and I think he told us backstage that he had a big argument with his girl, his wife. Had a big argument. He come in raging, and he went on stage and just let it all out. And that's when I realized that this is a great space to kind of release private things, you know what I mean, creatively. So I learned so much from that man, and it was a pleasure to kind of know him and work with him. And to the other two, Jesus. First of all, I've got to say Chappelle, because I think he is the greatest, only because there's no other version of him. Chappelle isn't like another comedian. Do you know what I mean? He's not like anyone else. He's just absolutely himself, unique. And then the last person I have to say, this is bad.
If you don't say who I want him to say, I might kick him. I don't know what. I don't know how I'm gonna react.
Lock off his mic.
Honestly, this man is the blueprint. Everyone followed him apart from Dave. Everybody. Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Richard Pryor. Like Eddie was my idol, Martin Lawrence, but they all were versions of Richard Pryor.
In some way.
Bernie is another person who I say was unique, had his own style, not like anyone else. If it was four Americans, Bernie would be on my Mount Rushmore. Do you know what I mean? But for me, Richard Pryor is the godfather.
Absolutely.
Even white comedians were trying to be like him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my
I
Mount
got
Rushmore.
one quick question. Because you mentioned something earlier about talent and about relevance.
Yeah.
So right now, in the world where it's a lot, I don't want to say easier, I look at it in the world of DJing, for example. What we had to go through in the 90s as a DJ, buying records and all that, as to what we have to do now to get music is very different. You've transcended from comedy, from going from the clubs then to now seeing how social media is affecting.
Yeah.
What would you say is I don't want to say the easiest, but what would you say is the blueprint of how it should work? Would you say it was better going through what you went through in the 90s? Or would you say today is the way it should be done?
I think it's different. I think we did what we had to do. They're doing what they have to do. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I think their outcomes is reaching thousands of people that don't have to get dressed, put on makeup, whatever, you know, and LOL's okay for them. You know, for us, we heard the laughter. It was tangible, it was real, it was in your face. That one there, you had to be funny. You know, there was no editing on stage. You know, there's none of that. So it's not to discredit them, but they're doing what works now. And I think it's consistency. You know, it's more about consistency now. It's not necessarily about, is this person brilliant? You know, it's about, if you're consistent enough, then you can build a following. You don't have to be good. You just got to be consistent. Whereas I think with us, we had to be good. You know what I mean? And we had to be consistent every time we do a show. The thing in comedy is you're as good as your last show. Not 10 shows ago, not what you did last year and all the other stuff. Like, you're as good as your last show. And in being in front of people that had paid money, that got dressed, that had babysitter, all them thing there. You know what I mean? The pressure was really on you to be funny. Whereas I don't think there's any pressure online. I think you just got to be consistent. So I think everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. But it's just a different time, and you got to respect the new time.
Okay, so thank you very much, Kojo. Thank you very much, gents. I'm going to hand the reins over. You see that? Did any of you not catch that? Someone bookmark this. Someone just.
I'm sure, I'm sure we've had that before, but let's.
No one. All right, we're gonna do Reigns Roundup.
Right. So just so you know, Kojo, what we do every podcast. So we do it fortnightly. So I kind of scour through the news stories that have made it. In my mind, I bring them to the guys to kind of discuss. We're short for time, so we're probably gonna do it a little bit quicker as normal. But I've got lots. Right. Firstly, I'm gonna do it as home and away. So internationally or domestic? Where do you want to go, Kojo?
International. Oh, sorry.
Let's do international then.
International. Right. The power cut in Portugal and Spain. Did anyone see that? In
You
Lisbon.
mean Putin locking the thing off?
Well, I don't know. But their thing just crashed. Just everything lock off. Like no power. People couldn't, no TVs. The government was saying, you got to save your phones, turn them off, turn them on when you need to, and all that kind of stuff. The UK came out yesterday and said, you know what, we're due one of them. What? We're due a power outage due to shortage of electricity. Now, if if London loses power for an hour, what do you think is going to happen there?
All the Africans will be fine. That's just called Thursday. That's called Thursday, brother. Africans can still be cooking.
Yep.
What you think we need microwave?
There'll be a couple house fires,
yeah,
though.
bro. Are you mad? Clothes are still gonna be pressed. Yep. Africans will be cool. I don't know what Caribbeans. We not saying.
We're good. Whereas also, when the sun goes out, we go sleep. It's fine. Or enough youths are made.
In that.
Population goes up.
That's the other side of the coin.
Well, black people like grinding in the dark.
Bruv, in the dark. Creep through the shadows. Everywhere is now a shadow, Tarati.
You think it was,
Pure raindrops. Anyway.
Do you think it's to do with Russia?
100%.
Really? Lock off?
Lock off.
White people be like, oh my God, what's going on?
My tablet's not working.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get no Uber.
You see Sirelli with his AAA batteries like, I knew today was coming.
Brother.
What about the kids though and Wi-Fi? They're going to lose their mind, bro. They're going to have to talk to their siblings.
Talk to people, innit? That's mad.
The wickedest game of water gun fight would break out.
Imagine that. You know, so we mentioned batteries. So this is a part of that was in the news. China invented a nuclear battery which lasts 100 years on one charge.
How long does it take to charge? Yeah, exactly, 300 years.
Well, no.
One second. So Tongo asked the question, how long does it take to
I
charge?
ain't got that detail, man. Again, it's
double thumbs down. We don't know
new
this.
technology, and the actual battery is the size of a you know those flat batteries that you can put into like torches or watches. Yeah. So that's where they've started it. So it's actually out there in existence. They didn't mention it to no one, and the battery's been powering something for over 50 years.
It's already.
It's there, blood. It's there. This is the catch. The battery's there. So now you know that they've got a thing where they've got Teslas that are just running, don't run out.
So this is why I always say to black people, man, stop going Ibiza and foolishness like that. Go China, man. You want to see what's coming?
Yeah.
Go China. Stop reacting to stuff. We always react to stuff. Oh, right, you can really do that. Yeah, if you went on holiday to China, you would have known this. Yeah. You know what I mean? We keep going back home to the Caribbean,
You know
Africa.
me, I'm thinking to myself, what would I plug in? If I knew this thing was lasting 50 years,
Your phone. bro.
what am
Your
I
phone.
going to plug in?
That's what we're doing.
There's a couple things that you wouldn't plug in. Do you get what I mean?
But
You know,
what are you going to plug it in, though?
I'm thinking. I'm like, if it was a power source and it was limited or whatever the case is, like, what would I be?
The
Well,
car,
it depends
man,
on
the
what
car,
output
the
you
car.
can get from it, innit? If you can get output of it
Tesla.
where it can do your heating, well, it makes sense. I'm not going to use it to power my remote control car, am I?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think a lot of people would aim to phones, innit? My phone never dies.
But then the network's down, bruh.
Yeah.
But anyway,
All right, yeah. Because we haven't discussed it, Usher's concerts and the cherries.
That's a madness.
If it was your mum, aunt, man,
You know what? Kojo's going to do it at his show. He'll be like, yeah. No cherries, here's a lollipop.
if it was your mum,
Nah, they get cucumber with me, man. Some fruit and veg.
sister, or lo and behold, if it was your partner, is that okay to go on because he's Usher and he's a legend?
Nah, man, what we doing?
it's
No,
very.
I'm saying that.
Man, I'm thinking in it. Like,
No,
it's
it's
not.
It's not. It's
It's an
disrespect.
interesting question, but are you a whore? I don't know how else to
Especially
respond
if
to
you
that.
know she don't do that with you.
Yeah,
It's like, where you learn this from?
Imagine.
Where's this been at?
You know what?
As soon as you get home, watch me with the cherries. Yo, babe.
Yeah.
Fling them at her, bro. You know, like.
Put the shoe on the other foot. Janet Jackson. How would your missus take it if you went out and you see how Janet
put her
take
breast in
people,
your- put her
put
breast
you on
in
the
your mouth.
stage? Yeah,
The Super Bowl breast.
brother.
I don't want to be asked. I don't want to be asked this question.
Do you know?
I don't want to be asked this
Do you know the
question.
funny thing? We talked about this when the Usher concert was actually being announced, and one of the things I think some of us were saying was that as long as none of our parts would do something that would embarrass us, you know what I mean? If you're doing something that's embarrassing your relationship, it's a no-no. So if you're doing all of that in front of the cameras, nah, it's not for me.
Did you see the brother though? That recently there was a video where a guy he went there with his girl, took his girl towards Usher. Yeah, he took the cherries out of Usher's mouth, fed it to his own girl, and started whining on her, started lipsing her. And Usher's like, yeah. He said, Usher, big man, take a 5-minute break, buddy. This is it's my girl. Yeah.
we covered actually. I'll cover this one very quickly. Liverpool won the league. Let's move on. Ben,
Now, shout goes out to Buddy. Shout goes out to Wileycat. You know, avid football.
And Kojo.
And Kojo. All right, no, avid football supporters. You know, Buddy's got Liverpool tattooed on his body. Wiley.
Serious?
Yeah. Wiley has been a Liverpool advocate, even when it's got nothing to do with Liverpool.
He brings
Do you know
it
what I mean? Like, sometimes he's at work, you know, there's a delay on the hybrid isn't in line, but Liverpool have just gone 2-1 up. You know, just to try and make everyone calm again. I don't get it, but no, respect, it's your team. I watch football every week. So if my team won, you'd be all wearing Arsenal
league,
tops.
yeah, you know,
you
like
get it? So I have to be respectful, and shout goes out to Wiley for wearing Liverpool tracksuit bombs. But let's move on.
The Ben Eubanks fight. So we can do the thoughts on the fight, but I want to mutate that a little bit. The display of parenting and fathers in the ring. So there was a bit of backlash after the match. Nigel Benn's son,
Connor
literally
was just hugging his dad.
just hugged his dad, put his head on his shoulder, and Ben kissed him.
Yeah.
On the cheek.
Yeah, on the cheek. Is that people are saying, it's mad. Well, why is he doing that? Is that a madness?
I don't see the problem. I really
In the
do
real
not
world,
understand
it's
the
not
problem.
a problem, man. People got to type something because that's just the way the internet is. Yeah, they're bored. The fight done. Now they just want to say something controversial in the moment. That is a site that isn't often seen, right? Globally. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We're bad
male
dads.
affection.
We're never there. We don't know what we're doing. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That was to shut up all of that nonsense. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Because for the mandem as well, it just made me think about my little man. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
And also, after the fight done, you're no longer a boxer. You're my son.
Yeah.
What I do with you
Yeah.
is absolutely okay.
You're off the clock now.
Yeah, like you're my son. Like I'm gonna hold you because you're devastated. You fighting in my honor. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't care how old you are, you're never gonna not be my son.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
One of the
So
things that really got me for that, he did it so casually in front of the camera. It shows me that when they're not in front of the camera, that kind of relationship.
yeah.
and
It
bond
looked,
that
it
they
looked
have.
very, very genuine.
Yeah, it wasn't
because he
no-
was upset.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? He was upset,
Yeah.
and in that moment, obviously, I didn't grow up with my dad, but imagine that I can give my mum a hug. I can imagine the whole of the stadium would have just gone silent, because that's all you want. You want that embrace, that warmness, that safe space. And as Kojo eloquently placed, I believe the more these things are shown, the more the myth is now going to be displaced, and it should be celebrated.
It was beautiful.
So
and it's man them are saying this, man them are saying this. You know what I mean? Like man them are saying that was dope.
Yeah.
That's what I was missing. You know, what would I have been like if my dad was there? Do you know what I mean? It's all of these little things that people don't, because men just get on with life. But that moment was for me, that was for us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially black people, black men, black young men. That was us. When Chris Eubank jumped out the van. It wasn't even about
Eubank Sr.
It wasn't even about it wasn't even about like he finally showed up. It was like man said I can't let my son do this by himself, man.
Yeah. I was always
everything.
gonna be here.
Yeah.
Rastafari.
And they tried to cut it on Sky Sports. It was too late. It was too late. It was like Rastafari.
Dreadlocks.
You know, like it was too late. It's too late. They might call it.
Was Eubanks upset at his son planned?
No.
I don't think so.
This
because
was before the fight.
Yeah, no, I know, but what it is, because he said on the interview, you hit him with an egg, what part of the game is this kind of, and he said
Yes.
it's disrespectful. But was that to garner some...
he actually said, you know, I never taught you that. Did Karen?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
That's the
he
mum.
stepped to his mum.
Is
Yeah.
it definitely the mum?
That's the mum.
I thought he just used it as a...
No.
No.
that's the mum.
That was genuine.
It was an uncooked egg, so probably.
But if you, matting. If you analyze it, so what it was is that for those that may not understand, Chris Eubank Jr. is physically a bigger man than Conor Benn. So they fight in two different weight categories. Now, someone smaller fighting someone bigger ain't a great thing. So they have to find a weight where they can both reach. Because Conor Benn had to get bigger.
2 weights.
It was just almost eat more. Do you know what I mean? Keep your skill, eat more, just get bigger. But for Eubank Jr. had to lose weight. And they had a plan to lose weight. There was something about the collaboration of the scales and blah, blah, blah. And he missed the weight by 0.5 pounds, right? Which was, they said, was the same weight as an egg. However, you have to think, as a much bigger guy, to lose all of that weight, you're not eating, you're not drinking, you're dehydrating.
You're sweating.
He was sweating, he was training with
before the fight, he was in that thing, innit?
Yeah, the sauna suits and doing all of that. So you have to imagine, if you didn't eat for 2 or 3 days to try and lose all this weight to meet this weight category, and in less than 24 hours time, you now got to go and fight someone, your energy's drained.
Draining.
So Chris Eubank Sr. was saying, well, actually, you're putting my son at risk. Or, if it is okay, you've got this small guy who's bulking up, who's going to fight a naturally much bigger guy, you're putting him at risk. And if you know what happened between Chris Eubank and Nigel Watson,
Yeah.
Michael Watson, who is actually related to my sister, and you know what I mean, he got brain damage.
Yeah.
Even Gerald McKernan and Nigel Benn.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's mad.
So to see that they've gone through that, he's lived through that, and to then say, actually, let me take my son and put him into this space. And for those that don't know, Chris Eubank's other son passed away 3 years ago. So it's a lot. Do you get what I mean? So as much as there were theatrics, I fully understood the pattern.
We witnessed a
conversation.
movie. I'm letting you know. That was a movie. That was better than Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a real.
This is
was
real.
a real
Yeah.
life movie, bro.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a film about this one day.
gonna have to.
They're going to. 2 sons having to meet and their journey all the way up until that moment after their dads fought.
Yeah.
Do you know how insane that is?
Yeah, Netflix have got that. Someone's been
Brother.
Someone's already said,
Yeah.
yo, let me get that to you.
Last couple, do you want to go home or away?
Home.
Any Aluko? So she.
Any.
All right. So we know. So right. What the question I'm going to ask is that. Right. So she was a pundit. Well, okay, she was a pundit where she said some comments in regards to Ian Wright and how Ian Wright, footballer of Arsenal, how he has, I can't remember if it was a monopoly on the game or restricting.
She's kind of like obstructing other women from getting.
That's right.
Journalistic roles because he's taken a lot of them.
Yeah, and then it came out, big furore. Then she tried to apologise. Right, he basically said, safe, but I don't want the apology. So firstly, is Righty right in not taking the apology?
100%.
Why?
Because there is no. I always say, you can't judge. You can't tell someone how to react to something you have done.
Right.
So you can't judge me. If you've apologized, you can't judge me on the same standard because you've done me the wrong. I'm within my rights to say, okay, safe for that, but you know what? I don't want to accept it because I've got my feeling for it. I don't have to match you on where you are.
Yeah.
That's just the end of it. The reaction is on what she's done. If she's done something wrong, unfortunately, she's created the storm in it. She ain't brought her umbrella. So that's just what it is.
Ian's thing was like, I've done a lot for you privately.
No.
That's the thing.
I've done a lot for you privately, and you publicly said this. And that's sometimes what people do. They'll disrespect you publicly and try and apologize quietly. No, you got to do it where the disrespect was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for me, you know, when people say something, like, people forget that you're allowed to say yes or no. People ask you questions sometimes with their own answer in their head.
Yeah.
Or their own response in their head. Do you know what I mean? And like, you have the divine right to give that to them.
I mean, not to be on the Kumbaya podcast, I think he should have accepted it with categories. Do you get what I mean? To turn around and say, I appreciate where or why you said what you're saying. However, dress down, for example. Because one of the things that I think is very special is there is something about, and this takes me back to my previous profession. When you elevate in an environment, in a working environment, as a black person in a white person's country, let's be real. When you elevate, the one thing you really want to try and do is keep the door open or the hatch open so whoever's going to elevate after you can make it through. If they make mistakes during the process of elevation, we should be in the process to correct that. Do you get what I mean? We need to be able to say, actually, buddy, you did that wrong. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide and support you on how to make it right.
But Dean, let me challenge that.
Go for it.
There's difference between someone not rowing with you and someone punching a hole in the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Right.
She's punching a hole in the boat, bro. It's not like, oh, I can teach you how to row faster, but you just punch a hole in the boat. Like,
That's going to affect him professionally, yeah.
Now I can't keep that door open because you're going to make all of this collapse.
Exactly.
Yeah? Sometimes you have to sacrifice those people because they're not part of what's to come. They're in the way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So for me, that's my analogy to what you said. I understand your point, but she's not someone that you can actually be like, okay, yeah, I'll teach you how to row. Yeah, I've been doing that privately. I've been doing that. Now you're punching a hole in the boat. That's not only going to jeopardize me, everybody's going to dead now.
Thinking.
And you know what? That's worse about it. If you were somebody who conspiracy theory and that, you can sit back and say, did she just do that to bring her name up? Was that just a trigger so that people who didn't know her are now Googling her and looking into her and doing these kind of things? Don't get me wrong.
It's always controversy though.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I'll be very honest. We can dive into this,
Right,
but I'm going to cut it there. Slap it back to
Right,
Ray.
I'm gonna do one more, even though I've got about 10. Where do I go?
Can we go away to Central Africa?
No, I'm gonna do the viral thing at the moment.
The gorilla thing.
100 men versus one gorilla.
Right.
Who is winning that battle? And we're gonna go round, and I want you to state your reasons. And then what it is, I'm gonna drop out, and then we're gonna do a quick substitution. And then you guys can answer, and then we get into the topic. We'll start with Kojo.
100 man getting beat up, lad.
Really?
Yeah.
100 man.
Can I say this? First of all, black man don't know how to fight anyway. First of all, let's do
Right,
that.
well, we just talked about bank.
Ghana black men don't know.
No.
I'm not co-signing that.
No. Most man, don't know how to fight, bro. They fight, they bite you. People ain't trained.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. Yeah, people doing overarms and hoping. Like we're not trained. Unless if you go and train, that's different. Yeah, but not everyone can fight. I don't give a damn who you are. I don't
See the
care how
punch
big
coming
you
from
are.
about 20 minutes away.
I don't care how big you are. Most people can't fight. That's why it's a profession. Yeah. So and also especially black man, because that's who I'm going to be calling up. Who's going to be at the front?
I'm getting a couple Jurgens car. You can
Who's
stick
gonna
with the
be at
black
the
man.
front?
I want a couple Jurgens.
Are you going to be at the front, Dean? You going to take the first lick?
I'm looking at the man that live in the bush.
I'm strategizing.
If it's black man, there's going to be 100 man at the back row.
I'm
Waiting, innit?
Go on then. See the gorilla.
Bro, stop being a pussy, bro. Stop being a pussy. Brother, no one ain't going first. So first of all, we're all dead. Because no one ain't going first.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm probably gonna fly and kick Tongo in front of me. to take a lick.
But I'm not coming.
Says that to
white flag on
all. He says
the
that to all the
Man,
girls.
idiots.
Talk about, I know, this is
Tongo says that to all the girls. But 100 men is slapping up a gorilla, bruv.
Keep it moving.
A gorilla. Okay, cool. Keep it going.
No, you, bruv.
No, I'm come back to me.
They're gonna come back.
100 men.
100 men.
100 men. I saw a video recently. I think it must have been a group of about 30 guys had gone on some cowboy and Saturn thing, and there was a bull. And they had to
wrestle the bull down.
And
This sound like some white
you see
people
the one
shit. This
guy
sound like some white
That had the bull in a headlock.
Headlock, and he
And he
they
got
got
it to
it down,
trip over,
but
innit?
he was
Yeah.
the one who pulled it right
The
down.
gorilla.
No,
No,
bull.
a bull.
It was a bull. So on that, and I'm looking at the strength of everything. 100 men. Yeah, 100
Well, simple
men.
things.
100 men.
A gorilla is dopping everybody. Because you have to remember, you can't all attack him at the same time. Physically, there's not enough space for that.
You're going to have to, yeah.
So 10 men are going to go and try and hold him down. He's swinging his arms. He don't need to do anything. He's just swinging his arms. And you're hearing ribs cracking, legs breaking.
Bawling, screaming. Blood.
Done!
All I
Sorrow.
know,
You know what
according
sorrow
to
is
this,
like?
I'm not taking Tongo. I'm not taking Kojo.
Please don't.
I'm not taking Sirelli.
But you're not going first anyway.
Wiley said he can kill a bear
kill a bear.
with his bare hand. Wiley can come.
Why are you going to try and read him some rights? In this house?
Wiley will be like, Mr. Gorilla, today
what day
is National Employment Day,
National Pancake Day.
International Workers
You
Day.
only have to bust up 10 man, then it's a break. So
Six man?
No, that's it. That's overtime. overtime.
union time.
I don't think 100 men could do it. Like if a gorilla in its height and the size of the arms, the head, like imagine trying to get a
Popping man,
gorilla
like that.
in
In
a
a headlock.
headlock. A gorilla, like, and you know what it is? Yeah, because I was having this discussion.
No
at work.
weapons.
All you
Just-
need to do is one man saying, I'm going to die, I'm just going to poke him in the eye.
One man.
Just, I'm going to fuck.
How are you gonna poke a
I'm
gorilla
gonna
in the
fuck
eye?
the gorilla in the eye.
Brother,
Do you know-
poking him in the eye is just going to enrage
Hold
him.
on, wait. Do you know what a man
that's
said?
what you need to do.
You know what a man said? A man said, yeah, to make it fair as well, yeah, these 100 men got to fight naked. Because the gorilla's naked, the gorilla ain't got no clothes on. So why my 100 man got clothes on?
Well,
who's
shut
fighting that, bro?
No. In regards to this, I've heard some lunacy. So at work we were discussing it, and someone said, if the men have got trousers on, they could win because they can take off a thing and strangle the gorilla.
Can't use
Madness.
that. No weapons. You can't
Madness.
use that. That's not the...
But even what are you
can't-
gonna do with trousers? If I take off your jeans now and put it around a
A
gorilla's
gorilla's
neck,
neck.
A man's wearing it as a scarf.
Yeah.
man.
You know what it is? They got enough faith in Levi's. That's what it is.
Look,
They've been watching them adverts. Levi's last 100 years. But it doesn't say nothing about save your life from a silverback.
It's a mad thing. I just don't think
You're gonna need
it's
G-Star for
possible
that.
for humans to beat a gorilla.
I don't think so. Bro.
So,
It's a mess.
It sounds good though.
Yeah.
I would like to say thank you to Rain for Rain's Roundup.
Yeah.
Round of applause. And we're going to do a quick substitution.
So the camera should be there.
So the camera should pan onto myself.
You're coming
Kojo
here.
can get closer.
Oh, right.
Nice and cozy. And Tongo steps in at the building. And Buddy, we can still keep one man. We can keep one man. All right. So we're nice. Even though it's been a bit elongated, I'd like to say good evening, welcome to the MT podcast. Today's topic, today. 1 second, I can't really do that. In the building we have,
Buddy in the building, aka the truth.
You know when it's late, no one cares.
But you know the West
And then
is.
Tongo.
We have the links.
Man, I tell you,
feeling
you
funny.
don't know I'm there.
All right. So we got Tongo.
What did he just call
Did he
him?
call him Tongo?
Yeah.
He called him Tongo.
They called him Tongo.
All right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about citrus. Safe. We're blessed.
Kojo song.
So, I'm willing to do another sub. No. I'm willing to stop. Do you remember 5-a-side? You didn't even need to alert the ref. You just run on and the man run off. Yeah. All right. Cool. So today's podcast topic, we're hoping Kojo's going to join us with his knowledge, experience, and views, and it is based on what are you willing to sacrifice for the win? Okay. So what are you willing to sacrifice for the win? This podcast is themed and blended through your ambitions, your mindset, your struggles, and personal growth. So, what I'd like, Rain, so Rain is now what we call Stato. And for those that are new to the podcast, Stato is the person behind the scenes that will research, look at references and fact find and dictionary searches, etc. So 2 things I need you to do, Stato. Firstly is, what does the definition of winning and what is the definition of sacrifice? So, just to make it make sense, some of us have had to make some very difficult decisions in our life that have brought us from point A to point B. Some of those sacrifices we felt at the time was definitely worth it. In hindsight, we may not have made those same sacrifices. So I'd like to tell a short story about a sacrifice I made thinking I was doing the right thing. I was 23 years old. That's one of them. I was 23 years old and I've been working in the bank for 2.5 years at this point. And at the time, this was when Dubai was still being developed. And they built the original Palm. Not the one that you can go to now. There's one that was built before. And they didn't finish it, but they were building that Palm. And someone came in and said, "Oh, are you the branch manager?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And then he turned around and he said to me, "We've got opportunities for you to come and work in a casino in Dubai." I was like, "Where?" He said, "The Middle East." Now, them time there, the Gulf War just done. And he said, "It's tax-free and you'll be safe." And I'm like, no. Gulf War. Do you know what I mean? The worst thing I'm going to get here is Peppers and Spice are going to run out of curry goat. Over there is a war. I don't want to do that. And he says, "Trust me, you will regret it." I gave the opportunity to my then mortgage advisor. And I said, "You do it." Gave the guy his number, and he went and worked in Dubai. And I didn't take the sacrifice. I didn't step away from my friends and my family. I didn't step away from my partner at the time. I wanted to be safe and secure. So I wasn't willing to sacrifice for the win. 8 years later, that same mortgage advisor retired. He retired before his 30th birthday and went to Dubai, helped them set up these casinos, which didn't actually open up because the Palm didn't open up, but got many smaller contracts because he was English, because he had, because he was a white person. He was elevated to certain positions. And for about 10 years, he sent me a Christmas card saying, "Thanks, mate." That's all it said. And I used to see the stamp on it. And in my head, I was like, oh, if I just had a bit more knowledge at the time, I probably would have taken that. So I wasn't willing to make the sacrifice. So before we go into any more discussion, gents, I'm going to ask Stato to share what he's got.
What do you want? Okay, so the definition of...
We need you to grab a mic. Just quickly grab Tongo's mic if you don't mind.
Just repeat the definition of, you probably would tell me, definition of sacrifice: to give up something valued for the sake of other consideration.
So the definition of sacrifice, I'll repeat, to give up something of value for other considerations?
For others' consideration, yeah.
For others' consideration. This is the definition of sacrifice.
And then the definition of winning, gaining, resulting in, or relating to victory in a contest
winning is winning. It was so long. As soon as you started talking, I forgot. But essentially, of gaining an advantage and being ahead of whoever's behind.
Not losing.
Not losing, essentially. So, gents, what I'd like to do is to yourselves. I would like to think of an example of a sacrifice you've made for the win. And as the new guy in the room, Kojo can go last. So I'm going to step to Tongo.
My sacrifice would be when I gave up barbering back in 2000 and probably 2000 actually. And I went to London Underground. At the time, it was guaranteed more money. I was in rent arrears. I was badding up the rent arrears. And it was just excellent. Everything was just going smoothly. Then the supervisor and managers on my group, like when you work at Underground, you work in what's called a group, and you may work across 3 or 4 stations in a line on one of the lines, and that's called your group. So supervisor, manager, and the highest manager in the group, they basically schemed against me and lost me my job. So everything crashed in one go. So I left thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get a bigger money. It's Underground, it's a lifetime career. Most people that are in there, lifetime, it's, yeah, boom. As I said, got messed up very quickly and it was gone. I didn't go back to barbering properly until 4 or 5 years ago. Whereas if I'd stayed in barbering, I'd probably be at the highest pinnacle, or I definitely would have been.
You probably would have had the career that you were searching for.
And I definitely would have been continually established and probably had my own shop, probably been employing people, probably had a legacy, and it's all missed.
Can I say something? You're saying probably, but what's to stop it from happening from now?
We listen, we don't judge.
We're gonna come back.
We listen, we don't judge.
We're gonna come back to that. Really?
All right, so I wouldn't necessarily call it a sacrifice, because by the definition, I gave up something valuable in this, but I would say more a different path that I chose. So in that kind of same era when Kojo was probably finding his feet, deciding he wanted to comedy, when we were, finding our way without the guidance of someone to help us fine tune our skills, our knowledge, to tell us that, so what if none of your friends are doing this? You can do that. It's okay. Not having that around me was something that definitely made my career take a different path. So I always wanted, from a very young age, I was fascinated with planes. The concept of an object being that big, weighing that much, being able to fly in the air for hours, it just fascinated me. I'm like, the wings don't make sense. Everything, when you just look at it and you use a simple mind to just look at it, it doesn't make sense. Maybe if I run fast enough, you know what I mean? I was that kid. So, yeah, if I run fast enough.
Could you imagine Sirelli as an anime character?
This is you lot's brethren.
With his arms behind him.
Brother, give me a couple cardboard. Let me run. That was, as a child. Yeah, as a child, you used to spin your arm round and round and round and think, I'm going to take.
Maybe if you pumped up your trainers with the Puma pump thing, you might have.
It was British Knights, bruv. You're showing your age.
Reebok pump.
Definitely went to British Knights.
BK Knights were the one to do the first pumps. No. You should know that, you're a trainer, man. British Knights, yes. But anyway, Google it. Anyway, so
check that one.
Anyway, so I wanted to become a pilot, and that was my ambition, that was my goal. And basically I wanted to join the RAF because that was the cheapest way to do it for someone from Hackney not being able to have the finance to go and study to do it because it was mad money. And the day I was supposed to join to do my exam, I remember getting to the front door, my mum standing in the front door, barricading the door. And she's like, nah, I'm not losing you. You're my firstborn. You ain't going to fight no white man's war. And she started bawling. Now, as a young man, I'd never seen my mum cry. That was it. I didn't need to hear no more. I didn't need to see no more. I hugged my mum, and that avenue changed. Now, I wouldn't say, the reason why I don't want to call it a sacrifice is because I don't feel I failed in any way in the life that I now have. It's just that it would have been a different path that I would have taken, and God knows where I would have been now, but it was the path that I wanted to take, and I just didn't have the opportunity to take it.
Wiley.
Time. I've sacrificed a lot of time.
To the union.
It's not even a joke. It's not a laughing matter. It's a deadly serious thing. If you know the amount of, and the thing about it, you get the victory of what you're doing for people. You get the victory of fighting for people's rights, getting paid for people, all these various things, which are very serious matters. Like, jokes aside, very serious matters. Unfortunately, though, you lose a lot of your own time. And I think I didn't realise that until I nearly died, 2020.
Jeez.
So when that happened now, I said, you know what? I'm going to manage my time better, because we don't put the value on time in the same way that maybe others do until you realise you don't have time. So yeah, I got the wins, but actually now I manage my time a lot better. So I sacrificed the time, but I've learned how to use my time a lot better. There's my answer.
Buddy.
Amazing stories. I don't know. I don't even know if I've even sacrificed a lot. I mean, I would sit there and say to myself, I can tell you changes that happened when I've made certain steps and certain changes, like leaving my job and starting my business, which when I heard Tongo's story, it was like, it's similar to say I've sacrificed a regular income on
Security?
a chance. Yeah, on a chance and just on a whim to say, you know what, this might work, and I'm going to try it. And I suppose this comes with anyone that's an entrepreneur will kind of say to himself, well, we all to make that sacrifice, but it kind of comes naturally. So when you say it, what did you sacrifice? I just feel like I kind of find it, I think to myself, I just took a chance. I just said to myself, this is a part of me and what I want to do.
It's not taking a chance. That is sacrificing.
It is. That's what I said. When I hear the stories,
we have friends
that won't do that.
Are employed and are extremely skilled in other areas, but would never give away the security of the employment to pursue whatever they're skilled in individually. So it was definitely a sacrifice. No holiday pay.
Yeah.
No sick pay.
No sick pay.
Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
What do you mean you're not coming into work? Of course you're coming into work. I broke my leg. I'm still going into work. It doesn't matter. Do you get what I mean? So
even in saying that, when we went on the stag do, and obviously you was hurt.
Rain was hurt.
Yeah, them man had took.
They had
sick
jobs.
Pay. Yeah,
they took sick pay.
We went to work.
I had to hobble in.
I was like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go lift boxes, bro. You can't walk. It was just what it was, because we had to pay our bills. We had to continue. Yeah. So when you say about those type of sacrifices, I don't know. For my personal mind, just sits there and thinks I took a chance. But you're right, it is a sacrifice. That's what I said. When I heard other people's stories, it's like, was that the sacrifice that you're talking about? You know what I mean? I was sitting there thinking, what can I say?
I'm not saying buddy slaughtered a lamb over Mount Kilimanjaro.
I'll be honest, I was sitting there thinking, yeah, but I sacrificed certain gal. No. I did it, and I was like, nah.
That's a sacrifice. Sacrifice gal, you know.
Over to Kojo. You know that before this gets incriminated.
We listen, we don't judge.
When the SWAT team bust into the team.
But
Kojo,
yeah, okay, go on, Kojo.
Talk to us about one of your sacrifices, sir.
I would say my sacrifice of late, I would say realistically, was I've kind of spent about 2 years away from my son.
Jeez.
Right? Yeah. So being out in LA, and him and his mum's in Birmingham, it's because this game that I'm in don't care about your scenario. You know, especially when you go to LA, you hear so many people. Yeah, I've been in so many meetings where people are like, yeah, this person was out in LA, but he went home to look after his kids, and you know what I mean? And it's like, it's the honourable thing to do. But sometimes it's like you're you know, this game is like, it's ruthless. You know, you the time you put in is the time you get back. Do you know what I mean? And if your excuse is, oh, I've got children, or I've got to, you know, pick up this person from school or one or the other, it's the game's like fine, but we don't care about that. You see what I'm trying to say? And I had to make a decision, you know, from 5 years old that, okay, I spoke to his mum. I said, this is something that, this is my air. This is how I breathe. You see what I'm trying to say? This is how I provide. And I need to take a risk and do something that's going to propel me to the next level. Now, you do that with no guarantees. You do that with no form of, you know, knowledge and just pure faith, right? And, you know, people talk about having faith a lot, but sometimes you really got to test it. Can't just say I've got faith. You've got to show that you've got faith as well. So for me, 2 years of not kind of being in his life consistently was tough for me. And I'm out there on my own, humbling myself because, you know, I'm at the biggest level, but I'm Southampton. Do you know what I mean? I'm Southampton in the Premier League.
Football reference.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm somebody back home, but here, you ain't no one until you prove yourself. Do you know what I mean? But when you do that, it's a bigger cash cow. It's a bigger thing. You know, I saw a quote from Denzel Washington saying, you know, sometimes your own family will judge you in the process of you breaking generational curses.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Someone's got to go through the fire. Someone's got to go through it to make sure that everyone's cool, for real, and not keep, you know, check to check. So for me, being out in LA was a sacrifice of time with my son, but now I'm back. I'm in a better position for it. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'd say is my latest sacrifice.
Well done, bro. Yeah, I mean,
done, man.
It's
hard.
It's well done, but who's the judge? You know what I mean? Kojo ain't the judge. It's his son. Do you get what I mean? Because Kojo made a sacrifice on his son's behalf. Do you get it?
Yeah.
He's made the choice, but the person it's affecting is his son. Do you get what I mean? And this, when I think about sacrifice and we talk about the things that we've sacrificed, we also have to think of the impact it's had on the people around us. Yeah. And what role we can play to ensure that the level of that impact is minimized. Do you get what I mean? I think that's vitally important that we know what that sacrifice is actually gonna cost. However, gents, and Buddy did touch on it, so I'm gonna follow up on it. I want to talk about the whole entrepreneur versus employment. Because everyone sitting around, do you know what I mean, on this podcast can earn money through a company or are earning money through a company and can work for themselves. Pros and cons, sacrifices for the win. Yeah, so let's keep the tone the same. So the question that I'm going to pose, how many of you here will be willing to walk away from your current job to pursue a new career?
Does this include me?
It includes everyone.
Not at this age, no way.
So you wouldn't give up
I
comedy
don't believe in
to be an engineer?
you can't be the new person in the office at 45, bro.
That's your dad talking. Your parents talking.
No. What do I look like being in sales at 45? Yeah, this is the new person on the 5th floor at 45. Brother.
Kojo thinks it made it straight to the 5th floor. That's presumptuous, bro.
I'm saying you at a certain age for me, you're supposed to be in your stride of your career, especially men. The world trusts us as we get older. Yeah? You start having kids, you start having family. You know, things change, whether you lot realize that or not. Yeah, that's
How long you been away?
Huh?
How long you been away? 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, Hackney don't trust us.
No, it does. The world, don't forget Hackney, the world trusts you, right? You know who the world don't trust? Single men that have no responsibilities. Where's the evidence that I can trust you? What have you got to manage in your life?
Why are you putting that kind of fear in bare people and that?
No, but it's a reality. So if it's fair, let it be that. But the reality is, when you've got responsibilities, the world trusts you. When you've got a wife to look after and you've got children to look after, it opens itself up. I'm telling you, yeah, just think about it.
Do you know what your statement is saying basically is more a case of we got more to lose type of thing. So whereas I will take a risk being a single man, lives on my own, no other responsibilities, I can do whatever I want. Do you know what I mean? If I've got a family and a kid to feed and all the rest of it, it's like, whoa. I'm gonna take time with this choice, because when Citrus now turned and said, oh yeah, would you leave your job? I'm gonna think twice, because if I leave my job and it don't work, I still got my children to feed. I've still got my I got my wife to deal with and all the rest of it. So I get it, but on the other side of things, I feel more it's a case of the way that people think, innit? And I was actually waiting for everybody else to answer the question before I put my point in there, because I know, and I shouldn't say I know, but I feel Citrus's view on this would be the same as mine, where he said, would I even leave my current company that I built by myself, all right, would I leave that to pursue another career? Yeah, I would. And I feel he would be the same. Like, the way my brain thinks is like, if I feel that this next thing can make more money than what I'm making now, then I'm going to take that chance. If you said to me, oh, you can be a comedian and you can make X amount of money, and I thought I was good, then I'm like, would I take the chance and come out to LA with you? Psh, I'll try it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, obviously, I don't believe I could, so I don't.
But you're using an analogy, right? And I fully agree with that. I think that's me. Yeah. Because I'm very sure of myself in this, right? It still doesn't guarantee me anything. But I'm confident in that if I can try my best. I think I can live with it didn't work. I can't live with I should have. So I can't live, no one can't live with me. If I didn't try something, and I'd rather fail at it than just be killing it, doing nothing. I'm not happy.
So is it more about you would rather, because I hear what you're saying, if you got a steady job, go into another job or another field is a gamble in that sense. But if it's your passion, so let's say you're not Kojo the comedian, you're Kojo the
salesman.
The salesman. Yeah. But you've been doing this comedy, you've been doing comedy for years. Now you're like, you know what? It's now or never. Are you? Would you be saying then you wouldn't make the sacrifice to say, you know what, go all in at this age now, the age we're at now?
Comedy?
Yeah. Forget not having the experience you've had already. Yeah. Going into it at this sort of age now.
In terms of, so like I've been doing sales all my life, and now.
Yes. And now the window's there, you can try and go into
do you know what it is? I for me, if I've seen it in my head, that's just how all of my things have been. If I see it here first, because God gives you a preview. We call them dreams, but it's a preview. Yeah, once you see yourself in something, that's the preview. It's how you get there now. Because it's done. If God gives you that, because He don't give the same thing to everybody. You know, I ain't sitting there thinking about being a pilot, but if He gives you that thing in your head, that's the preview to what's to come. It's your job now to figure out how to get there. And the reality is, you know, we live in a world where shame and guilt and all the other stuff, things that we put on ourselves, but when it's coming from other people as well, it makes people afraid of doing that. I had to look at my son's mum and say, listen, I'm going to LA. I'm going to LA, but I believe I'm going to come back with something. I may not come back with something. She believes in me enough to be like, I got it, I got this, go. It takes a special kind of person to be able to be cool with that, because she remembers, she didn't meet me at the post office. She met me doing this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It takes a special kind of person to be okay with, I'm going to hold the reins.
While you're doing this.
While you're doing this. Because I believe in you. I know what you're doing. I believe in you. If it was someone that I'm out here just not making no one laugh, talking about LA, shit, big man, get that sales job.
So, but coming back to the original question of, would you leave your current role to pursue something else?
So I want to respond to a couple of points you made. The first one in regards to people have faith in men who are married, and they are men who are single are more of a risk. I think you're right, but I think that's more of a stato kind of point of view, in the sense of, if you're married, your wife's going to make you get a mortgage, or you're absolutely right. Your focus is much more, I've got to provide. When you're single, you kind of, you're happy to facilitate for yourself. And one of the podcasts, I say that, you know, being by yourself makes you selfish. Now, everybody else disagreed with me, but my view was always that.
So does.
It's you're selfish because you only have to look out for yourself.
Exactly. That's the rhythm that you have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't intentionally make yourself selfish, but you've only got to see for yourself. You've only got to cater for yourself. When I'm going home, I don't need to think if anybody's going to be home. If I need to bring them something, I'm literally self-sufficient. Yes. So you're absolutely right. I agree on that side. Like, you're trying to get a mortgage, or you're trying to get a loan, or even car insurance. Well, you're married. No. Yeah, this guy's going to be driving reckless. He's going to be driving at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're married? Yes. Okay, he's got a wife. He may possibly have kids. He'll take time when he's driving and those kind of things. So yes, from that point of view, I definitely believe that, you know, there is a liability, and there's a different focus, and it does channel you, because you're now thinking for other people, not just yourself. So taking that and then answering your question, you're right to a certain extent. When you say to yourself, at this age, do I want to be the new guy in the, in the building, doing this, doing that? The only thing where I kind of disagree with you a little bit is that I believe the time has changed. So when we were in Hackney running around, busting joke, playing football, doing all those kind of things, we didn't really understand that we all had very, very unique skills at that time. Being able to communicate with people was one of them. And we all, for the majority of us here, we worked in sales. And I can tell you, working in Topshop for me was one of the most educational times in my life, because there was this little thing that they had, and we've spoken about this in different podcasts, where they would give you incentives and they would say, get people to open an account and you'll get capital bonds. Now, I don't know that thing's around anymore, but basically it's money.
Yeah.
And each account was 10 capital bonds or whatever it is, and every Christmas they'll give you your lump sum. And I remember there were years where I was making over $1,000 in capital bonds, and it was a target. So I had to find my way to communicate to people and break them down, because there are people that come into the till, and I mean, they are on, this is what I want, don't talk to me, don't do nothing,
That's
just
me.
give me my thing,
That's me,
I
man.
want to go. I've been in the queue for 10 minutes,
yeah.
don't waste my time, I've heard the CD over and over, you didn't have the size I want, all of them kind of things. And you find yourself finding a way to like, okay, how am I going to disarm this person? Yeah, literally, how am I going to disarm it? I remember one time, there was this black girl, I'll never forget this, face is push up. You can see she was on.
Did she work at the Caribbean shop?
Nah, she was in the queue in Topshop. But anyway, she came up to the till, and then I decided to speak to her in a very high pitched tone. So I was like, "Hello, how can I help you?" And then she didn't know if I was being serious or not. So we went through the transaction, and then she must have said halfway through, like, "You can stop the foolishness now." And I'm like, "Sorry?" And then, this is my voice, I was born like this. And I kind of just carried it on through. She started apologizing to me. So, oh, it's like, this is actually a real thing. Now, I asked her about the account and everything. She was so embarrassed, she didn't go through with it. And then when she was leaving, I then, at the last minute, said, "Thank you much, have a good day." She went into one. She was mad. But you found ways to disarm people. You found ways, and this was something that I learned being around Citrus, being around Tongo. These were the kind of things that you knew how to diffuse the situation. Now, that meant that you now have transferable skills, but we didn't know them kind of terminologies back then.
Yeah.
You could use that. Wait, I didn't know that.
It's something else.
Yeah, transferable skills. What do you mean? So these are the things that I think to myself, these are the kind of guidances that would allow me now to say, you know what? Yeah, I could leave my 9 to 5, 15-year job to start something new, because I know I've got something I can carry with me to bring to the...
So, and just to try to speed up the tempo of the podcast. So what are the limitations, gents?
So for me,
why are we reserved?
For me, I'm lucky that I've got 3 different things that I'm currently doing now. So if I stepped away from my day job, I know I would be able to transfer myself into another role, or I've got my DJing. So I've always got something that I'm fully invested in. If I had nothing else, no, I ain't doing that gamble, because I've got responsibilities. Those responsibilities can't live and survive off of what I will now have to be gambling, because
So the
my responsibilities will continue.
outweigh the risk versus reward.
The risk reward only works for me if that risk is going to be meaning that my responsibilities will not now be overwhelming everything.
So Kojo said he was empowered by the mother of his son. You know, she empowered him to go and take the risk for a reward. It's been 2 years. He hasn't even shared if it's been rewarding or not yet. But that's not the point. He was empowered to do so.
But Kojo's also got the talent and the relevance with that talent.
Maybe here,
but
no. Over there, he said he doesn't want to be the new guy on the 5th floor. But that's exactly who he was.
But my point is this though. Even then, even if it don't work over there, you can still fall back to here where you know you've got that relevance and talent. What I'm saying is, with my day job, if I never had DJing, if I never had trade union knowledge and work I could do, I wouldn't have something to fall back on. And you have to have something you can say will carry you through and mean that your responsibilities may not suffer.
But to challenge that, Wiley, and I agree with what you're saying, but I think to challenge that, if there is no backup plan, maybe you might be more closer to actually making it happen.
When you know
Because
you're
when
gonna die.
got-
When
when
you know
got
you
that-
can't breathe,
Yeah.
failure's not an option.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can swim.
And that's when
Throw
you
me in
find
the
out who
ocean.
you are.
If I can't swim, I can now swim.
I
Do
can,
you get it?
I can, do
Yeah.
that, I can do that if my responsibilities are on myself. I can't do that if my responsibilities are people being responsible. I'm responsible for people. I can't do that.
you don't
That's
want
me
to
though.
do that.
I don't want to do. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
You're failing
my risk of that, I can't put them at risk. I can put myself at risk.
Yeah.
I can put myself
That's fair.
in the fire and everything. I can't put them in that fire though because I'm responsible for that.
That's
And
a
I
right man
can't-
talk.
But what you're,
I can't do that.
what you're failing to realize is that is some of the gambles that people have to make. And when you're put into a situation where
got
you
no
have no
choice.
choice,
Amen.
right, you will make that you just make the best of what you can. And I suppose like happily certain people in this room haven't been put in that situation, so don't have to make that choice and haven't always got that backup plan. But if you haven't got that backup plan, and this is it, you make that shot, all right, or it just don't work. And if I make that shot, I have to make a way to make that shot work. And that's what it is.
I think the final thing I'd say on that is it's one thing if I've got to make it work. It's another thing if I've put myself in a position where I have to do
You
that.
have the choice, yeah.
If I never had a choice is one thing, but if I put myself in that position, I'm putting them in that position. I can't do that.
Me personally, I could do that, and the way I've now acclimatized my mindset to be, if I have to cheat to make it happen, I'm making it happen. If I want to make it happen enough, I'm going to do that. If I see, so if I got an offer on the plate and I saw the vision in that offer or that opportunity or that decision I need to make, then if I feel like me doing that is not going to bring me any value or have any worth, then I wouldn't do it. Quite simply. But whether I think
Could you? The next question is ultimately, could you deal with the failure? Because that's what you have to ask yourself before taking the risk.
But this is the thing,
Let
Kojo.
me finish.
So
let me
sorry, go ahead.
respond. Yeah. So for me, right? Shout out to me. I'm now 50 years old. Yeah. 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Enough old.
Yeah. Don't hate. Because I still look the youngest in the room. Boom. So boom.
There's a young thing to my left. All right, we'll carry on.
So, boom.
All right, that's
Now that's an uncle. Remember?
Uncle, that's uncle.
So, boom. For me, obviously, I'm the oldest. I think I'm the oldest in the room. So, me starting again, in regards to Kojo said I couldn't do it at 45. It's even more of a mad thing because I'm 50 years old. When, for example, employment looks at me, it's he ain't got much time left on his employment. So, that's a risk. You know what I'm saying? So. I'm not married, so that you said they trust people that are married.
So as the criteria,
Yeah.
you're ticking. You're not ticking as
I've
many
got
boxes.
big exes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Bit line out. But
Interesting.
as I said, the way I've acclimatized my mental capacity to be now, if I'm trying something, I'm trying because I know I'm not failing. That's why I'm doing it.
And do you know what, Tongo? I'm going to stop that point right there. But I want to build on the back of that. And I'm going to talk about Buddy. So one of the things is that when you've got no choice, you know, when the hunger is there. Sorry, I'm going to come to you in a sec. When the hunger is there, when you want to do something, but you're not hungry. Yeah, of course I want to do a different career. I'm going to join Kojo on the 5th floor in sales, but I drive a bus. I've got my route. It's 4 days a week, 4 days on, 4 days off. I get 3 holidays a year. I don't need to change it. Wait, they've got automated buses now. So now I'm now obsolete in my position. So I have to do something else. Then you think to yourself, well, if you don't do something else, you can't feed your family. You don't have the security blanket. You are your, what does Sirelli call it?
Blockbuster videos, man.
Yeah, you are your
safe
your safety blanket. And when you get yourself in that position, the drive, the energy, the hunger, the all of this just amplifies. What do you mean you got to pay your mortgage at the end of the month? And your kids need to be fed? And your partners turn around and say, well, we've still got the gas, electric, council tax, service charge, mortgage, credit cards, etc., etc., etc. to pay for. You find a way. And I think if you don't have it in you to find that self-starting position, you then make a self-starting position. And this is something which Buddy and I have been discussing this year about saying, well, if we need to reinvent ourselves or our industry or whatever it is, what does that look like? And you have to have a really, really honest conversation with yourself. Do you know what I mean? Kojo and Tongo both spoke about visualizing it and having the preview and working towards that. But if you don't have that and you're just going to kind of relax back on your, no one really gets fired from my job, so I might as well just stay here and just be comfortable. When you get that red letter through the door, automatically you wake up earlier or you don't even go to sleep because you start making it happen. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Really?
So to give to meat on the bone, I was a very young dad. I had my first child when I was 19, and subsequently I had my next child when I was 20. Now,
This guy don't learn.
definitely don't learn. And at that time, I was still going soca raving with the Mandem. You know, we were
And drum and bass.
and
I mean,
jungle and
Garage and
Yeah.
all kind of
it
things.
was. So I was
You
still.
thrown him under the bus.
Yeah.
he went out.
didn't stay in his yard, basically.
Yeah, I got names, dates, and places, and Kojo, you're on the list, so don't even don't talk too much.
He's watching you.
Yeah, those jokes are gonna.
Good times.
Yeah. But at that time, as Citra said, the mentality we had then was, it can't fail. We don't have that option. At 19, 20, and I've got 2 kids, and I'm still studying. I'm like,
Living alone.
I've got to make this happen. Failure was not an option.
You had a car?
Yeah. I've. Why are you gonna do that?
Sorry, bruv.
Make man cry. For the rest of that car. But I bought my car, put a deposit down. Then the cars used to come out once a year. Put my deposit down, and then a month before I was supposed to pick up the car, my partner at the time, yeah, I'm pregnant. Wait, but
Just put the money down.
I just put that deposit is not refundable. It's a 2-door car. It wasn't even a 4-door family car. I'm like, but I've got to go and pick it up. What is it? August, I think it was that they came out the 1st of August.
1st of August,
I've got to go.
yeah.
Me and Citra's already bought suits to go out and pick up the car.
White
You're not
suit,
telling
you
me? Yeah. There you go. I ain't telling lies. White suit to go pick up a car. And she's telling me, yeah, we got to start putting money aside for nappies
Went
and baby
to go
grow.
get it, got a bunch of flowers, like, yay! Like I just won the F1 or the Grand National. Thank you.
You know when the price was right and they give you a bunch of flowers? It was like that. I'm like, wow, here's your keys and here's a bunch of flowers. And we drove out. We picked up at midnight.
Yeah.
Drove down the West End for no reason.
Didn't care.
Just drove around and came
Now
back.
we
But
need some bass. You know, the priorities were just off.
it was off, but in the back of my mind, I've now, like, yeah, in 8 months from now, you're going to have a child. So me not succeeding wasn't an option. And luckily, I had people like you lot that are sitting here to tell me, well, boy, you know what? Yeah, you got good times, but you know you need to make this work in it. You don't want the sins of your father to be carried down. And that was one thing that I must admit that we had as a collective. Although we didn't come from the perfect homes, we knew what we didn't want. And that for us was the drive that said, you know what? You don't have an option. Like Sid was saying, they dash you in the water, you can't swim, but I'm going to learn to swim.
I ain't going to drown.
I ain't going to drown.
Yeah. So, the next segment, the MT podcast guide to sacrifices for the win. So, what 5 points can we put in the MT podcast guidebook? As a father, as a man, as an employee or an entrepreneur, and as an older man.
Start with Tongo.
I'm not going to start with Tongo. I'm going to start with Kojo. So we want 5 points that we can put in our guidebook. Someone's going to buy the MT Podcast Guide 2. And in this chapter, it's going to say sacrifices for the win. What gem of advice
Honesty.
have you got to go in there?
Honesty. If you know you want to do something versus you can do something, don't waste everybody's time. Don't waste your own time. there's so much people that want to do something. Can you do it? Yeah. And the reason why I say that as well is because God's given you a gift, but I think a lot of people are in other people's gifts. They spend a lot of time, oh yeah, I want to do what he's doing and she's doing and all the other stuff, but that's not your natural skill. You might be amazing at painting and drawing, but because no one else thinks it's cool, you want to waste time with your taking singing voice lessons. That's what you want to do, but what can you do? And I always say, if you lean on what you can do, that's where you're going to make your first M.
Don't mix up your capabilities and your abilities.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to be a footballer. I don't talk about nothing more than football in my life. But God gave me the gift of humor. The gift of humor. That's when I believe I first really exhaled. When I found comedy. When comedy found me and I found comedy, there's no one on this planet that could convince me otherwise. You could tell me I wasn't great at football, and I might believe you. Because there's doubt there. There's no doubt. So I because I'm somebody who's sitting in honesty, and honesty has been honest back with me, because I was honest with it, I think that is something that when you're thinking about risking, not only yourself, family, and all these other people, make sure that you're being honest with this journey that you're about to. Is this something that you want to do? Versus is this something that you can do?
So what is our first guide point?
That last point was the thing. Is this something you want to do, or is this something you can do?
Sacrificing for the win. Is it something you want to do, or something
you can do?
You can do.
You can do.
This is a very nice, structured first entry into the guide. The floor's open, gents.
Straight away, don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of failing, because if you're afraid of failing, you're afraid of winning. Don't be afraid of failure, because failure can.
Something says to me while he's been winning, while he's been reading Jurgen Klopp's autobiography.
Funny, bro. You're funny, bro.
Doubt to believe it.
I'll tell you what it is that my mum's side of the family, Proverbs was a big thing with them. So everything was about Proverbs. Everything was a proverb. But that's not even directly from them. That's just their thing that I've sort of gained from it. You can't. Everything is a risk, innit? It's just what you're willing to put on the table to risk. So, like I said, I'm not going to put the responsibilities of others for the risk, but I will put my own on there, because I know I can judge myself and say, I think I can do it. So I will do that. Don't be afraid of losing, because if you're afraid of losing, you're afraid of winning.
So Kojo's point was?
Capabilities and abilities.
No,
Don't get
It's under honesty.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself.
Can you do it?
Right? Can you do it versus
Or do you want to do it?
Is it something that you want to do, or is it versus is it something that you can do?
yeah, that's it.
Kojo, please hold on to that thought. Wiley's
Don't
point
be
is,
afraid of losing.
don't be afraid of losing. We've got two into the guidebook. Any others?
Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
Well, I kind of like that one.
I like it. So don't put off tomorrow. So procrastination is your enemy.
Yeah. So if you decide that you want to do that, don't stall and keep saying, "Oh, I don't know." Get to it. Start it. Start it, and you really want to do it, you'll continue.
And also,
Each
just
step will
Can
come.
I want to add to that as well, just a little bit more depth to it. Too many people tell other people what they want to do as if they and when you do that, it's doubt. Because
You allow people to plant the seed of doubt.
Yeah, because but it's already there. The doubt's there because you're asking someone else what do they think. But why is what they think? Why is
gonna help you
how
on that?
they think and what they think so important to how you're gonna move? Because that means you don't believe it. You need a reference. You need someone else to be like,
validation.
it's okay. And it's like, no, like that's the first seed of doubt, and it's going to kill everything. You don't care what other people think. Stop doing that. Too many people do that. You need someone else to say yes so that you feel
I need a balance to this argument, gents. I'm not buying it 100%.
Why?
Because, as Sirelli spoke about, growing up, you use your reference points. If I said to you guys today, Kojo made it in LA, he's flying out next Thursday, I'm gonna go with him. We had a very similar upbringing. I'm funnier than him. If you ask someone that went to our youth club, they would say that. So therefore, I'm gonna go do it. My brothers in the room were like, brother, you're hella funny to me, but can you make it out there on a big stage and doing this, that, and the other?
That's their opinion.
Have another think about it. So what I'm saying is not to not listen to say that that the doubters would feed the seed of doubt, but I would definitely reference
Why though?
those around me.
Why?
Because having someone else's point of perception could be a balance against my point of
But
perception.
why?
Because I don't
You
know.
don't believe.
It's
Can
not
I-
you don't
can I-
believe.
can I-
It's because you
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
say-
Remember,
Tongo,
remember,
I just wanna quickly say
that
something.
wasn't him asking their opinion. That was him telling them, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And his peers saying, brother, as your brethren, I'm telling you, that is not going to work. Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're doing.
Nigga.
Think about how you are, so on and so forth. You understand?
Right, I'm going to quickly.
different.
I'm actually going to make something relevant to what Kojo went through. If you remember when Kojo first went to America, he went with a DJ. We all know the DJ Longers. DJ Longers didn't. It's not like to say DJ Longers jumped on with what Kojo was doing, but DJ Longers had his own dreams and aspirations. He would have had those conversations. He's now doing what he's doing, both over here and over there. So we can't say that that hearing people saying to you, "Oh, that you shouldn't do something," is the right way. Because if someone had said to him, "Nah, that's Kojo's dream. Don't go. It's his dream," he wouldn't now be living his own dream. Do you know what I mean? You've got. If that's the route you can see, go for it. And if someone's taking that route and you can go with them to do that, by all means, go with them to do that. That's all I was going to say.
I got one for you, which kind of leads on to what you've just been saying. But you fail with 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
Is this point number 4?
Yeah.
Oh wait. I need to
But-
underpin
But
point number 3.
It ties into that as well, because it's like if you don't take that chance with the doubters and whatever, you can't. You're not gonna make anything because you didn't take the shot.
You're guaranteed to fail.
You're guaranteed to fail that way. So you got to take the shot. You have to take it. Like, there's been several businesses. I mean, I've made one successful business, and I can sit there and say to myself, I've taken a shot at all these other ones. They haven't hit, all right, but I've still taken the shot. And there's others that I still have in my mind saying, I'm gonna take the shot. I haven't taken them yet, but I'm going to take the shot. And you know why? Because if I don't take the shot, it's guaranteed to fail. If I take the shot and it fails, then I took another
You
shot.
know, yeah.
This never worked.
You know.
So, have you got your point in your head? So, Kojo, point number 1 was
Make sure you understand the difference between what you want to do versus can you do.
number
Don't
2,
fear failure.
number 3,
Don't put it off, basically. Yeah.
number 4.
You fail 100% of the shots you don't take.
Last point.
So for me, mine's a little bit ever so slightly broken. And I actually like when people are fighting against me when I'm trying to do something.
Why?
Because
it makes
only
us
me
stronger. 100%.
And in life, there are always people who smile with you and make you feel like they've got your back. But behind you, little things, they're not necessarily stabbing you in the back, but they're also not making it easy for you. But for me, especially with the experiences I've been through, like I said, I had kids very young and I had no choice but to succeed because I had 2 mouths to feed, not including myself. So that hunger, you know what, this person's fighting against me. It's all right, you know what? Because I've now learned a lesson from that interaction I've had with you. And that little thing that you did to fight against me to make me fail, I now know that trick. So if it comes up again in the future, I've now learned from what you've done to me, and now I know how to counter it. So I like when people fight against me because it just makes me tougher.
Well, sometimes it's not people, sometimes it's life.
Yeah, life.
And the reality is, again, is like, what is strength if strength isn't tested? You don't know how strong you are if everybody's cool with you and everyone. You don't know how resilient you are if you just
challenge it.
You know, if you're just operating on yes. I would never ever work and trust anybody that's never failed. I can't trust you. Where's the evidence that if shit goes down, where's the evidence and proof that you're gonna still be here?
Yeah. Where's your record?
Yeah.
Your
So it
credibility?
ain't about W's all the time. It's about I trust people that got a couple L's because guess what? They're still here after the L. But if you're somebody that operates on, no, I want to be undefeated, I don't want to lose, whatever, and that's kind of like how boxing is. Everyone wants that Floyd Mayweather thing, but guess what? The best fights have come from people that have lost. The fights that we're talking about in history are the people that have lost a couple, right?
You came back from a loss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Adversity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I fully agree with what you're saying, but ultimately, all of these things, and you know what? One thing I'll add underneath what Kim's saying is to respect how things work for you. Yeah? respect how you get your W's. Respect how they are. I remember one time I was just like, man, why have I always got to do things myself? Why is it I can't meet someone that can do what I can do for myself for me? But at the moment I was looking for that, it slowed down how I get my W's. Because God said, no, this is how you win.
I get that.
This is how you win.
That's your formula.
That's your formula. Stop trying to do the lazy thing because someone else is going to get there and they're not going to get what you get. They're not going to get and they're not going to get it how you get it either. And I really had to understand this is, the moment I step away from this, I'm jeopardizing my W's because this just happens to be how I get mine. And I had to really understand that and respect that this is how things work for me. I can't look at a next man and go, oh, he's got this and they got that and she's got this.
But some of what you just said, though, right? It kind of then says if it kind of breeds onto something else where you're saying, don't try them because you're saying like I shouldn't jump ship. I got W's on what I'm doing right now. So why am I now going to?
No, I'm talking about the process.
Yeah, you're talking about the process, but it kind of when I was listening and I was thinking to myself, that you're saying that, hold on a second, I'm winning here, I'm winning right now with my business now, but I want to try something else because I don't know, comedy, barbering. Do you know what I mean? Being a part of being a DJ, like they're winning on that. So now I want to jump onto that because it seems like it works for you, man. So I'm gonna try a thing, and now I'm saying I'm gonna try a thing. I'm obviously getting somebody else's. I'm trying a way that you lot have obviously been successful doing what you're doing, but it's not necessarily my success. Do you know what I mean? And then this is exactly what you've just said. It's about not jumping onto it. But then why should I not try? Like I just said, we just put into the.
I don't think we're saying the same thing.
Go on.
I agree with what you just said. What I'm talking about is even when you try that new thing, you still might have to do it hands-on. There may still not be somebody that's helping you in that new thing. Because you know what? Things just happen for you when you go and talk to the club owner. And say, do you know what I mean? Rather than, oh yeah, like every time I call someone, then they don't really talk for me correctly or whatever. Now you're putting it in someone else's hands, right? And that's what I used to do. I used to be like, you know what? I'm tired of doing things by myself. Do you know what I mean?
Let me outsource it.
Yeah, let me outsource it. And now I'm outsourcing it and it don't work for me. They're not doing it how I would do it.
Your passion is not behind it.
Exactly.
Your identity is not behind it.
So
your faith is not behind it.
Exactly. So whatever I'm talking about, even if you shift careers, I'm talking about the same formula that you know you win by. You got to keep that because that's how you get yours, no matter the different things that you're doing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you're good at talking to the man directly, why you need a middleman? Someone else might need a middleman. You don't need a middleman. Don't start it now.
And this is what we're talking about when we say transferable skills. That you have this in you from whatever you were doing before. This is that passion.
Exactly. It's that experience.
Yeah, you sharpen it and you bring it across.
So, interestingly, now, I want us to hit the 5 points. Yeah? Kojo.
You like this thing being...
We have to keep doing it.
It's like getting your GCSEs. You remember the answer? You remember the answer?
I got my driving questions after I got my test. That's it. So,
what's that saying again?
My one is honesty, knowing the difference between what you want to do and what you can do.
Don't fear failure.
Wiley, don't fear failure. Tongo.
Don't procrastinate. Get to it.
Buddy.
You fail on 100% of the shots you don't take.
And Sirelli.
I don't remember. Nah.
Don't fail, you know.
What's wrong with this guy?
No pressure, but don't fail.
Good.
Yeah, you got me now. Nah. It's when you're doing things, people fight against you. Yeah. And when they fight against you, it only makes you stronger.
Haters make me stronger. Don't you want to put it like that?
I mean,
haters.
you got to abbreviate it. Put a little punchline.
Haters. But I didn't want to say haters because it's not
It's
necessarily
life,
haters.
it's life.
It's life.
When life
this is why
challenges
Kojo
you, embrace
understands.
the challenge.
No, you need some philosophy.
Turn the negatives into positives. How about that?
Yeah.
So, gents,
I like the way Citrus never got Wonder Words.
I said 5. There's been 5. I don't know. I hope you can count.
Give us a bonus round.
So, so I put my question card down. One of them does have questions on it. So today's podcast was the sacrifices for the win. Yeah? And what you are willing to do. Examples of sacrifices we've done. And we've given a very succinct guide for those that probably have a difficult decision to make and they may have to sacrifice something. Now, hopefully, reading through our 5 very eloquently put points in the guidebook, that they'd be able to make a judgment decision with a balanced energy. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So, before we Roundup. Is there anything else you gentlemen want to add before you do your closing statements?
Nope.
I do. Kojo, I've been wanting to ask you. Back
Will
in,
you
I don't
be
know
my
when.
girlfriend?
Wowzers. Back in the, I don't know
His
when.
brain tingling right now. I'm gonna say something back, man. Go on.
Kojo's nervous. He's like, why are you sitting so close to me when you're saying this?
Nah, go on,
Why
man.
is talking about
It's
fight?
my rabbit, man.
Back in the day, one of your interviews, you said that your favorite
Rave.
rave was the Fruit Bunch House Party 2000, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Is that still the case, or has there been a
Let
new
me tell you
update?
something. Let me
He's
tell
been
you
to a
something.
couple Diddy
Let me
parties,
tell you
so
something.
who knows? Who knows how good they were? You know what I mean?
We saw the pics.
This could have been the empty topic. I don't know why. We done started.
Listen, man, the best times of my lives definitely had you guys involved in it, and because, you know, I wasn't Kojo the comedian, right? And you know, you lot asked me about, you know, would I, you know, when you said would I want the city life or the countryside life? I've become a recluse. I've become someone I want peace. I don't like the game I'm in. There's nothing about it. Like, you don't know me, right? So I don't have an ego in this. I'm just good at what I do. I don't care about all the accolades and all the other stuff because I know I'm talented. I don't have to worry about all of the other stuff. But away from the industry, the best times of my life was growing up in Hackney, coming to soca raves. The thought of me telling people I used to go soca, they think Kojo the comedian. They don't know nothing about the person prior to that, much less can he dance or do anything. So for me, it's like any moment or opportunity I get to be around my youth, my first times, my first experiences, like I cherish those moments. I you know, Wiley hit me up, I'm saying of course, because I don't get to have those conversations. Everything's about what do you do and how can you help me? And you know, especially when you're in LA, that's what it is. They ask you what you do first, then what's your name? I don't like that. That's not real. That's fake. That's, you know, and I've accepted that I'm a real person in a fake world. I know it's fake, so I don't get too close to it. My peace really is outside of the business. So for me, of course, the parties are cold. Listen, they're the last times I've really danced because I could dance it because no one knew me. No one give a shit. Now it's, you know, the first time ever, I said I can't dance no more. I went to Martin J. He had a party in the Hippodrome in Leicester Square. It was a soca rave. I think he had an album or something that he was doing. And I had just done Choice FM Weekender performing. The first time I did Choice FM Weekender, that was the last time anyone saw me whining, anyone saw me dancing.
I remember that.
In anything. Anybody, you know why? Because the whole night was, oh my God, there's that, oh my God. I became so anxious. You know, I have anxiety now. I don't go anywhere realistically by myself because now I have to talk to people and have small talk, and I'm not good at all of that stuff.
So now you got a barrier that.
I do. And sometimes some people think it's disrespect or it's rude or it's whatever, but I'm so nervous and anxious that and it all came from being known. You understand what I'm trying to say? So for me, I've always, you know, I don't know how many of you lot used to come Corks.
Brother, do you remember?
As soon as you go,
Do you remember me and my mum done the dirty wine?
mention
Dirty wine? What was
I
it?
love mums.
Willy bounce, I mean.
Yeah, I love
That
mums.
was crazy.
But I'm saying, I was always in the DJ booth with longers.
true.
You never saw me
That's true.
walking around like, yo, this is my thing or whatever. I hated attention off stage. I still do. I don't like no attention off stage. I'm not good at it. And being in LA around people that didn't know me gave me breathing space. The first time I'm walking around with my head up. These are some of the things I'm going to talk about in September, about the things that make me nervous, the things that I'm anxious about. You know, when people see you doing certain things, they think, oh, he's confident and he's this and that. They don't know that sometimes we get scared as entertainers off stage. There's other things that you got to deal with. Do you know what I mean? So for me, those parties, man, best days of my life. When no one knew me, no one cared, bro.
Freedom, innit?
Yes, and that's why, just to wrap it up, I really, 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 really pay attention to Chappelle. Because that's the only free person I've ever met in my life. No brand deals, none of this stuff. I don't want none of that. Because they tell you when you can talk and what you can say. And the moment you say something, like a young filly or do something, all these brands act like, they're not, these people, they don't love you. You know what I mean? Kanye, you say something that people don't like, all of these things, all of a sudden you're not a billionaire? Just like that. Did you ever have it? So when I see all these things, how can I fall in love with all these idols, false idols?
The illusion.
Yeah, exactly, but because I'm from a real place. You know what I'm saying? I come from a real place, so all of this stuff for me, it's a job, and I treat it as that. And outside of that, I don't want to talk about Kojo the comedian and all the other stuff. This has been very good for me because I get to reminisce and I get to think about fun times when no one cared who I was, bro. That's when I felt like I had realness around me. Now, do I really trust people? No.
Do you prefer how it like you've obviously grown up wanting to be a comedian and wanted to do what you wanted to do.
I grew up wanting to be a footballer.
We heard that bit, but
yeah,
comedian.
No, I didn't want to be a comedian.
No, but when you became one, when you became famous, should I say, all right, is it now a case of like I don't want that? Like I didn't think because as growing up, a lot of children, we want to be famous. We're like, I want to be famous. I want to be famous. Yeah. Now you've got there. Is it more like I kind of just want to be normal now? I was so green in comedy. I didn't know you can get paid. When I first got paid, I was like, what? I never knew you can get paid. I never come to this for no money. I still don't do things because of money. I came into this because I like making people laugh, because I made people laugh for free at club. I made people laugh for free at school. This was going to be I was going to have a regular job and still do this on the side. When I found out about it, I did not know you made money. I think I saw Martin Lawrence on stage and thought he was getting paid for that show. I didn't compute money and this, because I've been doing it. I just got a name for it now. So for me, I was genuinely pure with this thing. I didn't, and even now it's like, look how much comedians I've helped. Because for me, it's not competition. I'm not competing with you lot. I'm not doing this for money and more money and all the other stuff. I'm doing this because I like making people laugh. Corks was a phenomenal night and lasted 7 years every single Sunday because I poured love into it.
It was amazing.
I didn't do it because of bread.
When you bringing it back, by the way, that was
never.
Corks is no longer there, bro.
That's a burger lobster.
But what I mean, the concept is that. Do you know, it's funny because we had Fumbi on the pod, and he mentioned Corks. He said he mentioned your
you,
he mentioned you as well, and it was like that's why I wanted to kind of bring that up, because you didn't bring it up throughout the whole of the thing when he said about your growing up. I was thinking he's gonna bring it up, and you never brought it up, and I was like, he didn't bring it up. But it was a big thing for a lot of people. Like we all went there, and I'm slightly younger than everyone else in the room. All right, and it's like when I went there, and that's when I met you. It was like, rah, this is wicked. Like, this is a wicked concept. You come there, people were on stage. It was just brilliant. And it just kept on going and going. And like you said, it was going for ages. From my point, it was going for a while. And it's funny how I meet comedians now that will say, you know what, I went there, I went on show. This is when I first jumped on there, and you was a nobody. Everybody was sitting there, and if everyone remembers it, you stand there and you're waiting, watching this comedian that you've just introduced, and we're like, he ain't even that funny. And those people have gone on and made it and done little things, and they give you your plaudits for it. They say to you, you know what, Kojo, Corks, it helped me. It brought me. Do you know, which was a massive thing. When I heard him say it, I said, yeah, when you come on the show, we have to tend to say, congratulations and well done for that. Because that was a big thing to bring so many people, comedians, black, white, indifferent, it doesn't make a difference. You made the comedians do what they did, and they all appreciate you for it. As much as some might not have said it to you to your face, I know a few of them have said it and said, you know what, you did a lot, and well done for building that. And it's now a case of, I said cheekily, I'm saying, you're going to do it again. Like when you're, I suppose, done what you're doing now, your mission now, would you not do it again? Because it was.
I think the only thing that I would do, and you know, it's part of the plan, is to open my own club one day. That's the natural progression of it. It's not to go and find another wine bar and, you know, be striking deals and making their money and they're talking about you can't get, you know what I mean, all of that stuff. Like, it has to progress. It has to be ownership. Right?
The Kojo Comedy Club.
Absolutely.
I'll be wicked. I ain't gonna
absolutely.
Lie,
Right?
Call it the KKK, innit?
You will not be brand manager.
Okay,
the whole podcast was about sacrifice.
As an audience member, as a attendee, yeah, it was amazing because he didn't focus on, like, a lot of people won't know this, obviously. Like, he didn't focus on only comedians from the UK.
All over America.
He actually brought Chappelle there. He brought
Chris Rock
there. He brought Kevin Hart. He brought Willie Robbo there. Yeah. Like, all these people that you see as superstars in films, in that are comedians from America and for everywhere else that you think they're amazing and they're millionaires now, they were at Kojo's Comedy Funhouse on Sunday for like £5. The entry was like £5 or something like that. Or guest list or like, it's phenomenal, bro.
But that tells you it was never about the bread. It was about, we deserve this. And also, think about the West End back then. What, you said bring it back. Well, do you know what you got to do? You just spend it like £80 before you hit the job. Parking, ULEZ, congestion. But we didn't know the freedom. It was freedom before. Just to go out West End because you felt like it. Now you got to schedule it in and make a plan. Are you driving? Are we? You know what I mean? All of that thing that you now have to think about it. You could never do it. And even if I did Corks now, I'd do it with so much experience that it would take away all of that. I'll be so. I know too much now because, like I said, you know, we found out that our parents are winging it when we became parents. We thought they had a plan. And then you get there yourself, you're like, bro, they were winging it. And that's what I was doing at Corks. I was winging it, bro. I was winging it. I had Kevin out staying on my couch in Northwold Road. I didn't know about hotel and flying them. I knew I'd get you here and you stay back. You chill with the man then. Bro, you feel but now you're going to do all the things right and all the other stuff, but it will take out the essence of what it was. No one planned to come every Sunday, but you found yourself there because the atmosphere, and I wanted it to be that. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that I was helping comedians and I was bringing a community of people together and throwing parties. I didn't know all of that. I was just in the moment. I seen everybody having a good time. That's all I cared about. It was never about bread because I always felt like I was good enough if I needed to make money. You know what I mean?
Okay, gents. So we're just running over time. So what I'd like is your final summary. Kojo, from yourself, we'd like you to repeat your shows that are coming up.
Where we can meet you, sorry.
And then we'll go from there.
You
So I'm going to start with...
No,
Wait,
sorry. There is
Kojo needs to make his
You
question.
need to do a question for the competition before we get into that.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
Yes, yeah. So if you read the group, you would have known that the management have got it under control. However, no problem.
Some of us are in air still, so no.
No problem. I'm going to start with Sirelli. We're going to end with Kojo, and we'll go from there.
You know, for me, the roundup will be, first of all, to give you your flowers, Kojo. And sometimes, especially people our age, don't give people their flowers to say, you know what, you've done a lot in the game, brother. You've been at it consistently. You've done what you need to do. You've made massive, massive sacrifices. And as a father to another father,
Thank you, my
Bartlett.
well done.
Oh, so
Respect. I hope, you know, everything that you set out to do, you achieve.
Amen.
And don't forget, you know, may speak all the time and all that, but we're still here for you.
Of course.
And no matter where you are in the world, if you need that support, in whatever way or capacity we can give you.
I received that, man. Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Wileycat DJ.
I think mine's pretty straightforward and short, really. I think, aside from what Sirelli has said, what Kojo has shown a lot of people is about staying grounded. I think a lot of people get to a certain place and they think that they lose track with where they were. And I think what I've appreciated, and I think it's not just Kojo, it's other people I know as well. I like the fact that when people get to certain places, they don't lose that link with the bottom. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's the track record as far as I see it. That is the template. And I think when you lose track of that, you lose track of yourself. And it's been the whole podcast today has been refreshing, really refreshing.
Buddy.
Yeah, I'll kind of ride off of those cocktails and say, you know what, well done. Like I said earlier on about Corks Wine Bar, I just found it quite enlightening when I've spoken to certain people and comedians and stuff like that. It's just it brought a lot of people together. People that don't even know that we all met there. There's people that met at your comedy
event.
show. At Ross.
KKK, bro.
Yo.
Take it easy for yourself.
But no, people met there in it, and it was just great. It was a great experience what you did, and it reminds me a little bit of, like, say for example, Comedy Def Jam when they was out, and it was that type of thing, and it was really good that what you did, and keep up with the good work that you're doing. And nothing but respect for you for the fact that you haven't forgotten about us and said to yourself, you know what, well I'm famous now, so I don't really know you lot. know what I mean? You're still on our Instagrams. You're still message when you want to message. You're still around us. You've still been I think you came to, I don't know if it was my birthday or whatever, one of those things. You came down to that. And I was like, bro, you still get about, innit? You're still one of the man them. You ain't just said, well, I don't really know you lot no more. I'm up there, which is brilliant. And some of the things you said tonight, it's shocking and nice and it's enlightening. So well done to you.
Oh, respect, my brother.
Tongo.
First of all, I want to say,
guy.
one Hackney man
We
to
called
another
you
Hackney
Tongo,
man.
so it's fine, bro.
I want to say, I'm proud of you, bro. That I'm proud that I can proudly associate myself with you. So, like, this guy mentioned Norfolk Road. That is basically the road at the end of my road. Like, this is ends. And I'm always telling people, I know Kojo. I've known him so long. I known him before he was funny. Yeah? That is my brethren. And people, for example, some people only know Kojo as the guy from Britain's Got Talent. And so even though he's had how much extensive comedy career before that moment, to some people, a lot of people, he's nobody. Nobody. But to see the progress that he got and the success that he's seeing and the, for want of a better word, limelight that he's getting, because I felt like when we was younger and there was the comedians, the UK comedians coming through, to me, he was one of the ones that I thought those are the better ones. Like there was Slim, there was Rudy Liquid, there was Curtis Walker. And so he was like the next generation, but he was one of the better ones. And there's certain ones that you thought, I don't know if they're gonna make it, boy. But something about Kojo made me think, this guy's gonna make it. And I can say, he's my boy from the ends, which is even better. And you can use him as a reference point. Listen, we may have come from here to these younger youths that now feel like they got no future, they got nothing they can do. All they want to do is criminality or shotting or whatever. You can make it. It's actually possible. And you can make it in something that's different. It doesn't have to be you're a rapper or you're a I don't know, actor or a footballer. Like, you can do something different and it's okay. That's it, really.
Thank you.
I can also say happy birthday to Wiley.
Thank you.
One African man. What's wrong with you?
No one has said that for the whole
You're going to need it when the lights go out.
Kojo, what have you got to share with us?
I think thank you for the nostalgia. Thank you for memory lane. Every time I see you lot out individually, it's always like we haven't been apart. And I think these are the friendships that I cherish, because I don't think real friends need to talk to each other all the time. It's like when you ain't seen each other from, months, years, whatever, you buck up exactly where you left off. And that's what makes me comfortable to kind of come back as well. Just what I'm trying to say. So, Tongo, for sure, like, I appreciate you, because even you and your mum, like, always seeing you popping up at shows. Always. Do you know what I mean? Like, you and your mum, like, always come together in my head. So I think it means a lot. And I think this conversation is needed in general about aspirations, and it isn't about fame. It's just about doing everything to your capacity. That's ultimately what we've said today. It's about being fair to yourself and saying, I need to do this to my capacity, and that's how you can sleep at night. I don't care about what I've not been able to achieve, because I tried my best. And I know I tried my best, and it wasn't good enough, or it didn't get me as far as I wanted to in certain things. I don't have no regrets. The only regret I'll ever have is, man, you should have moved to LA. Like, even now, I feel like I should have moved to LA a little bit younger. But I wasn't as experienced as I am now. Do you know what I mean? So I genuinely believe, and I've got so many testimonies of things I've wanted over things that God's got planned for me. And I swore to myself I'd never want what I want again. So my only job now is just to be ready for whatever God's got for me. Because when you start making your own plans, God laughs, they say, right? He said that they say God laughs when you make your own plans. And all my job is now is to be ready. I don't know what he's got planned for me, but my job is to be ready for it though. Because my biggest fear in life is God giving me what I prayed for, and I say to him, give me 5 minutes. That's my biggest fear. That I've got what I prayed for and I'm not ready for it. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
I do really
that's my biggest fear. So for me, just encouraging everybody, just whatever path you lot are on, just do it to your full capacity. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, you owe it to people that love you, that rely on you. Just do it to your full capacity. And also as men, whatever your current best is, it's good enough. Don't care about how your best was 10 years ago or last week or whatever. As men, it's so important that I say to you lot, whatever your current best is, that's good enough. Because as men, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and we talk about what we was able to do back in the day and what we used to do and whatever. Your best is always going to be different in different seasons. But just as long as it's your best in the moment, don't be hard on yourselves. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Don't be hard on yourselves because we already do that to ourselves. So, yeah, man, I love this brotherhood. Keep the podcast going. And I'm excited to come back. And the show, the question, yeah?
Yep.
And the question, do you want them to DM you in Instagram?
Yes, DM us.
Yeah?
DM us on
Okay,
Instagram.
so the question to get a pair of tickets for the 12th of September, Married to the Game. It's going to be a very, very special night. All these guys are going to be down there. And we want you guys to come down to at Hackney Empire. The question is, my name is Kojo, and it means a day of the week. What day of the week does Kojo mean?
Okay.
You already got your ticket, brother. And if you don't come late to that show. This guy,
You know what? Call it out on stage. Call it out.
So, put it in the DMs of the eMpTy podcast on the Instagram. Yeah, DM the guys. Put the answer in the DMs, and they will pick a lucky winner.
Yeah.
They'll pick a lucky winner. Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you very much to Kojo.
Yeah, man.
Thank you to the brothers in the room. Thank you to Rayman, with substitutions. Also, thank you to our brand new tech. This is the first time working with this technician, so we really applaud and we're...
He's been playing FIFA, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed. He ain't even winning, but it's fine. But we are very much appreciative. It was a slow start, but we got there. And normally in the eMpTy podcast roundup, we give our opinions on the show and whatever else. And a lot of this was dedicated to Kojo. And I just want those watching to understand the testimony, what that means, and the level it underpins. To say, brethren or not brethren, this is a gentleman sitting next to me who makes me feel like we've made it. Do you know what I mean? There's no way I've made it, we've made it. No way he's made it, we've made it. And I want you to also think, if you're watching this, you've made it. Do you get what I mean? Because we don't know what tomorrow's got in plan. Exactly. As Kojo correctly shared, God has his plan. So as long as we keep that in our hearts, we can achieve whatever we want to.
Amen.
And remember, this has been the eMpTy podcast. And remember, if the glass isn't half full,
It's empty.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
So what position
Now
do you
let's
reckon,
turn the cameras on.
what position do you reckon Kojo played in football? Looking at his shape.
Left back.
I'm going to say right wing.
Left back.
You're going to be a midfielder, though.
Defender.